Let's get it.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Bridge to God. My name is Holden Stephan Roy, and joining me today is Mr. JS of the hashtag NoRegard movement, and it's super exciting because this guy was here before we were cool, meaning like he actually came through back in the day, back before like the Twitch shit, back before we talked to any. Yo, that's a real one. That's like some fucking, it's just from the heart. So appreciate that.
You already know.
Other part, yo, this guy created a fucking documentary. What I mean is like, he said it to me like, yo, in the last interview, I'm gonna go make this thing, blah, blah, bleep, bloop, bloop, hashtag NoRegard. It was a movement. Y'all don't understand. And the truth is, we didn't understand. So what did he do? Man's followed through on his word since the last interview, created this entire short film that will be at the Scotia Bank in Montreal, July 15. And guess what? I'll be there because I copped tickets to support that shit. And I forgot about it, and then I remembered it's next Thursday.
Did you buy your tickets?
I did. I bought 2 motherfucking tickets. Oh, yeah.
On Eventbrite?
I did. Facts. You can give me your glare.
I didn't see that. Okay. I gotta check that. I gotta check that.
Check that shit.
All right.
I put in my $80. It fucking hit my fucking credit card and shit. So I'm aware of that. I got the email confirmation.
Okay, you're locked in. You're locked in.
Definitely. When I said that on wax, I spent $80. I had already spent that $80. It was all grudgingly like, nah, I don't want to fucking spend no $80.
And it's not the fact that I didn't notice is not that it's a lack of appreciation. It's just people have been buying tickets, and the way Eventbrite goes is someone buys it and they go down, and it's like next page. So if I didn't see you bought a ticket for like a day or two, bro, it's very well possible I'm just not gonna see it.
Flex right there. He's like, go buy your tickets. The shit's that litty, bro. You want to be there at the show.
Yeah, buy a ticket.
That's what's up. Plus
Montreal.
They're gonna have like prizes. And you know the Stephanie's Bakery, the little NDG staple of deliciousness. Anyway, I'm just plugging your shit at the beginning. It's all fucking good. At Stephanie's Bakery 514 on the Instagram if y'all want delicious treats. But anyway, hashtag NoRegard merch is also available because, yo, they did this shit to that level of extent. All right.
Cupcakes, clothing, and also we're going to be giving 2 tickets to
I don't remember that
Space
part.
Jam.
Oh, say word. That's dope.
Yeah, that's breaking news.
Breaking news.
Space Jam. Yeah, premiere is the next day, Friday. So we're going to do a raffle, and lucky person's going to win a date night or 2 friends. Guys go out, LeBron James, Space Jam.
Poof, look at that show.
Keeping it sports, right?
But
documentary is the greatest recreational sports story ever told.
It's amazing, man. I love the branding on it. But let's bring it back to you, the guy behind it all, the mastermind, Mr. JS NoRegard over here.
Okay,
so
humbled.
Also makes music. And with that, it makes my first question that I like to get the ball rolling that everybody expects now fucking proper. And it's a little bit of a story. Starts with my girlfriend, and she's washing the dishes one time. And she's got her phone playing. And basically it's that Black Eyed Peas song. I got a feeling. And she's vibing. She's doing her thing. She's fucking dancing around. And I start thinking about this moment, and I'm like, yo, when the fuck did this song become chores music? Because, yo, it's this song, the same song, and it's chores music, it's exercise music, it's the shit where it's like, yo, once upon a time, this shit was the club music, right? We talking like 10 years ago when we was mad drunk. That was the highlight of the night, that and that Drake song. That shit would fucking come through, and it dominated everything, everywhere, every vibe, every person. And then 10 years later, that shit's motherfucking dishes music. That's what you put on when you go for a run to get in a good mood and shit. Like, that shit evolved.
Timeless
and that
music.
Shit evolved with us, though. But what I thought was nifty is how its place in our life changed. It went from being this thing to have the fun time and go dance and blah, blah, blah to, yo, I want to go back there in my brain because this shit is not as fun as I want it to be. And so I was like, hold up. So music evolves in this crazy manifestation over time. And that got me thinking about the Cardi B's and shit. So like all them 20-year-olds right now have no idea this is their dishes music that they're dancing to right now. And that's just the facts of the situation. But then it made me click, yo, every moms and shit's just bumping Cardi B and doing dishes today right now because it's already the dishes music. It's we changed. So club music equals dishes music and shit. And that made me think about the journey of music over time in our lives and how it just evolves and how it manifests into different fucking things. And with that, it kind of brought me back like to being young. Why? Because, when we talk about music, we talk about our adolescent ages. We talk about, I formed my identity here. I loved it. That's not like when the story really starts. It's not when we develop our passion. It's not really when it is. Sometimes it is. But usually it's like we encounter music from like the day we're born. There's always going to be something in the environment, something like that playing on. And it really just impacts us. Like, I can remember being like 4 or 5 years old, and my dad's got these boxes, the gray boxes, the amp, the radio, fucking the tape deck, and the wires, and it's going to the fucking speakers, and it's all over, and he's busting these Led Zeppelin tapes, and he's fucking playing the MC Mario 90s club mixes and shit at night. My mom's got the discos and the musical, whatever. And like Christmas time, we had this EDM remix of Christmas tune shit that we heard one time ever. Like, not one time, one day a year, Christmas, every year. It was always that shit. Anyway, all that goes on to like build up to the kind of person that you is later on in life. So I was hoping, considering all the incredible things that you go on to do with your life, you could bring us back to being the youngest JS NoRegard that you can remember, and walk us through what it sounded like to be you before you had any control of what it sounded like in your world.
Oof, you set that up heavy. Growing up, I'm not like a hip-hop historian, right? I didn't grow up listening to the catalog of Wu-Tang, the catalog of Redman and Method Man. I never particularly cared for hip-hop. I always liked musicals. So Disney movies, like, that was always my thing. The Simpsons, like, be my guest, those types of things. Yeah, Simpsons did a parody. They didn't start it, but they did a parody.
But you were the first person to bring up the Simpsons and their musical. But I bet a whole lot of us actually got some like musical game on with that. Be my guest.
If you remember the Simpsons episode, you know what we're talking about.
Like fucking you know Smithers, I mean? Like fucking vest, whatever.
Exactly. So I was all more fascinated in things like that, right? Whereas my oldest brother, he was super into hip-hop, OPP, You Know Me, Notorious B.I.G., Tupac. So there was always music around me, but I never gravitated towards it. I think it was because I was younger and not living that lifestyle. I just never connected with it. I don't know. Fast forward.
Nah, we're not done here. So, okay, you were into musicals and shit. Would you be dancing? Was you a little dancer back then?
No, I'm actually a very bad dancer.
Were you singing them? Were you like...
Oh, yeah, all day.
Breaking them
My
out?
voice is horrible, but I'm singing it like I made it.
That's
singing
amazing.
it like I made it.
And are you into sports back when you were super young?
Was I into sports?
Yeah.
Yeah.
People want to know what you're like at 5. You don't know that, but people really do.
Yeah. At 5 years old, 6 years old, I was a Minnesota Vikings fan. I think I was a Minnesota Vikings fan when I was 6 years old. And my 2 older brothers watched football. One was a Broncos fan. One was a Redskins fan. So I grew up definitely on sports. And like I was saying, music has always been something that's been there, but I just never gravitated towards it completely. I think it was because I didn't... Hip-hop music was what was played in my house a lot by my brothers. But I feel like because I wasn't living that lifestyle, like I'm hearing the cadences and I'm hearing the words and I was subliminally learning it, but it never touched my soul. You know, when music touches your soul, musicals touched my soul. The soundtrack to Disney movies touched my soul.
Yeah, big respect that. No, and it makes sense.
The Lion King, Circle of Life is like the greatest musical song to dictate what the movie's about, in my opinion, that I've ever heard in my life.
That's actually a really well point, and I think the Lion King soundtrack is one of those things that, if I really am being honest, is a bigger part of my childhood than I can remember. Aladdin soundtrack's also
Aladdin too. Aladdin, A Whole New World. I think that impacted me. I mean, we're jumping, but to later years, okay. When you eventually start meeting girls and you're talking to girls, I always had this concept of shoot your shot, because women could tell you no, but if she does say yes and take a chance and get on that magic carpet, she could find herself finding a whole new world. So Aladdin was a big inspiration to me growing up for that reason. She got on that carpet and he showed her a whole new world. musicals was greater than hip hop when I was like 1 to like 10.
No, but that's fair. Like, I don't even ask the question because I expect everyone to answer hip hop. Like, it wasn't like hip hop was a huge part of my life when I was 7, my guy. Like, I come from a household with no swearing in the
Has
music.
anyone ever told you that they started up on musicals?
Yeah, a couple. It's not that common. You're the first on The Simpsons. And that's a big love to The Simpsons because, frankly, a lot of us probably should be bringing up like shit like that. Or I'm certain for the next generation, it's Family Guy. There's no way that you didn't grow up on Family Guy and not get influenced by musical satire. You know, like that's half that show. So it's like super interesting that you went there with it.
See my vest, Smithers. I really like the vest. It's The Simpsons, you know?
No, but like the whole.
That's when I first started memorizing things because I wanted to sing along with the television, you know?
But even then, they used to get like a lot of musical guests and shit, like legitimately. And then they had like, I can remember that Lisa, it's your birthday. Happy birthday, Lisa. Like that shit's banging. I don't care what anyone says.
Chippendales, Rescue Rain, Band. Like, you know, those. That was the first time I wanted to mimic music.
Yo, shout out
it wasn't
DJ
hip-hop.
Damage. I know you might not want to watch the comments, but when they lit, they lit. When I was a kid, one of the first songs I tried to remake on the computer was the Simpsons theme song. So big
facts. I like that. I like that.
Yo,
salute.
Shout out fucking
Salute.
DJ Damage with the subscribe. Oh my word. That's the dollars one. Fucking beautiful shit. And I even forgot to put that. We're on like a subscriber goal move where like we're trying to actually do that. I forgot to put the thing in the video.
That's love. That's love.
Wow.
Salute. That's love.
Big love. What a start. Anyhow.
Yeah, man.
No, for real. Like it touches the soul.
That's
and
how
shit.
it started. Music does touch the soul. Let me tell you a very quick thing. I wanted to say it before when you were mentioning music. I work in a geriatric home. Today I was in the elevator. I just got into work, you know, early morning. You're still a little bit groggy, but you know, you're there. And a resident walked into the elevator with me. She's got to be like 75 years old. And she was playing Michael Jackson. And I listened to it and I'm like, huh. She's really like, but I wanted to say something to her, but I'm like, do I not say anything? But it's like, she's playing Billie Jean. It's one of my favorite Michael Jackson. I shouldn't even say Michael Jackson songs. One of my favorite songs. So when the elevator door closed, I was like, you're playing a really good song. Thank you. You made my morning. And she said, isn't it just so nice when I hear this song? It reminds me of my wedding. And she went into this whole conversation about how music marks chapters in her life. And that song is what she plays every morning because it reminds her of her husband that passed away. And I was like, isn't that something? As soon as the elevator door closed, I was like, all right, I'm ready for work. Billie Jean, I was ready for work. Small things, but music is the soundtrack to your life. Think back when you hear like a 50 Cent song, every hood we go through, all the gangsters around, know my whole crew. I know that's early 2000s. I know where I was. I know because music marks those chapters in your life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's big facts. Like I know I have an entire era that I call I was a Hobson fan. I was a Hobson fan. Hobson was the greatest rapper to me ever in my life. Yeah. And I realized, I guess it's strange right? I'm like, market, but it's really like a good 4-year period. It's even when I started rapping, I was in the Hobson's the best era of my life. And I had to, well, I moved out of that. I'm not going to say he's not for those that love him, but to me, he's absolutely
That was your era. That was the time. That's what you were on. You know what I mean? That's what you were on.
And, you know, then you get inspired by new things and evolve and you find new tastes. I find we get over ourselves. One thing I remember about your interview, I believe it was the Backstreet Boys. And you were like into the perfection of them and just this boom. Boom. I just love that part. I just like how fucking open you are with the musical palette that you have.
Yeah, I like some diverse music. No one wants to put a color thing on it, you know, for the sensitive people out there. But as a black guy, I listen to a lot of Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, 98 Degrees. Like, it comes from, I always had a fascination with repeating songs, and it goes from Captain Planet, he's a hero. Like, my circle of friends were super into coming to school and reenacting the songs that we were like listening to in terms of television type of thing. So that mimicking patterns, I guess because a lot of songs were popularized on the radio, that was my Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera. That 1999 time right there.
Yeah, I mean,
I can recite to you every one of those songs like I wrote them.
So here's the thing. I have a lot of memories of that because it was that was before I had control. That was mix 96.
Yeah.
You just listen to what
guys hate on the Backstreet Boys. Guys are afraid to say they like the Backstreet Boys, but nah, if you grew up in that era, if you wanted to hook up with a girl in the 1999 region, you had to accept that you're going to be in a room with Nick Carter posters. Humble beginnings. A lot of the girls that I was with at that time were from Verdun. Verdun raised me. Shout out V-Town. Nothing but love. You already know my reputation goes deep out in V-Town. But you had to Eminem posters, Devin Sawa. You know, there was like a time frame where you kind of had to just not be the goon. You know, have fun. And that makes you larger than life. Have fun. Girls dug it. And that was how we used to get girls back in the day.
Bro, it's worked.
You can recite a Backstreet Boys song, and that time, you're getting the girl.
I can vividly remember cruising around in my fucking car, and I would make sure that the fucking NSYNC would come on so I could bust out the Bye 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 in full.
What? I was just vibing to Bye Bye Bye.
Yo, I don't care what anyone says. I'm doing this tonight. Yo, everything about like that fight. It's like the pauses, the pop star shit in that. I don't even care what anyone says. That song, you could there's a bunch of that era, and I guess it is all shout out to Max Martin. He really was like the fucking producer behind like everybody at that point.
Yeah.
But man, maybe it's just because it's what I grew up with, but to me, they had this perfection on dramatic timing within music that would just capture attention like perfectly. It was like flawless shit.
As you say that, it's a big part of my video editing strategy. Certain songs that you edit with will make you feel something in your stomach, and it's all in that build. It's all in the build. I'm gonna use a song that people might find corny. Backstreet's Back. You know, there's this moment where it's just like you're watching a video, a highlight video, and you're hearing the song, but then at that moment it slows down. It's like boom, boom, boom. Show a few flashes. Boom, 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 boom. And then as it builds, and then when the hook comes back in, that's what I like to call the formula. When you have that and you have a highlight punch of a video land when that song kicks in, every one of those boy band songs had that formula in all their songs. All of them. Avril Lavigne, Christina Aguilera, there's always a point where they have that little bridge and the beat breaks down and the hook slaps in one more time.
Even like now they do some shit where they cut your beat right before the hook, even for like a half second, and a lot of little tricks like that just to kind of tap in and emulate it, even if it's not the full scale to it. But like there's a lot of power in silence that is underutilized. But yo, I love that you did that again, because you did that the last time, and this time you're like, hey, now you video edit with this skill now. So somehow I took the Backstreet Boys fucking track and evolved it into this whole new endeavor.
I learned to video edit from watching wrestling. Wrestling is what taught me that. I'm like a huge wrestling fan to this day. As a kid, I always remembered what WWE's video montages made me feel like. When Shawn Michaels got jumped by 9 guys in Syracuse in real life, and that he might not be able to wrestle anymore and his career was almost done, I remember the song they used. It was called Tell Me a Lie. And it really made me feel as a kid, oh my gosh, is he never going to come back and wrestle again? There's this association that music has with the visual that you're watching. As a kid, I never understood that I was processing this, but I always knew I had a heightened sense for how these video packages would make me feel. You know, when you see Hulk Hogan getting beat up, you're like, no, is he going to be hurt? And there's a music playing. It makes you feel an extra emotion if it's the right music with the right visual. That's what taught me. I never went to school for videography, right? I made my first short film. No one told me, hey, you should be a video editor. No, I was told I should be a doctor and a lawyer. You know what I mean?
I like that. I like the fact that you just taught yourself that, but also that you leveraged wrestling. Like, I don't know how else to put it. It's like,
yeah, wrestling taught me how to video edit.
okay, wrestling has influenced my current marketing strategy so much that the reason I'm name dropping everyone is because of wrestling's hype reels and their promos, and like, yo, that's half the reason you watch wrestling is honestly, let's be real, the matches are okay. It's like,
when you look at wrestling and how long they've been in business, there is clearly a marketing power behind that. So if you take out what's in the ring, as you get older, take out what you're watching in the ring, but process everything else around it and how a business can sustain, a lot to be learned in that.
Yo, biggest facts too. You can see how battle rap right now is jacking WWE tactics and to great success, and is now in the most profitable place it's ever been because it's absolutely able to tap into that energy. A lot of successful orchestrated beefs and hip hop come from that moves. Plus, everybody grew up watching wrestling. Like, who the fuck didn't? Like, let's be real. Most people in their 30s and 40s now all have an era where you watched wrestling.
Anyone who went to high school with me, you guys know I was deep in wrestling. I used to make wrestling videos. I submitted them to WWE to get signed. Videos? I went to wrestling school. I made wrestling videos, homemade videos, how I started my videography career, filming wrestling with me and a group of my friends, and we would have our matches. They started off a little bit corny, but then they built a little bit of steam, and in high school, it kind of became the cool thing. Like, we were the guys that would wrestle. You know, it was like 4 of us, and then we would just bring our wrestling to anybody else and, you know, perform moves on people that didn't want it, but that was like our group. I wasn't part of the guys that would be the hip-hop guy. I was the wrestling nerd.
That is honestly really awesome. And I mean that. Why?
Oh, yeah. It was big in high school. Riverside, it was big.
As high, like it just is.
What?
Independent wrestling is dope. Like,
heck yeah.
And even like, I'm not going to say I haven't spent some hours watching Verdun backyard level fucking wrestling.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was Verdun, this one league I watched.
Shout out V-Town. And
I was like, yo, it's pretty late. But the fact that you're able to not just do it, but like go to the part where you're creating wrestling things, going to wrestling school, fucking creating demo videos, that's fucking hype.
Yeah. I honestly didn't even remember. Like, I knew I made those wrestling videos, but I never associated it with the fact that I'm now like a recognized videographer. But, you know, you ask the right questions, I guess it make me tap into that. But I'm like, yeah, it used to be a film or wrestling match thing. This is kind of how it started. Really and truly. Never made that connection till now.
That's why it's dope. That's what we do here. We just talk about random shit until epiphanies.
Behind the Suit podcast. What?
Yo, I mean, everybody else on Earth is going to ask you the same dumb shit. And not that it's dumb shit, but you're going to go through the same gauntlet of questions from most establishments. And I want to be the guy that's asking you about wrestling videos and shit because that's fucking interesting.
Is it interesting? I'm glad.
So interesting. Why wouldn't it be? This is like the accomplishments of your life. That
life chapters.
And because, you look at it from a point of view of, we were just making wrestling videos. I'm looking at it the point of, like, you were learning to love the process when you were young, and you were clocking, like, experience points into these skill sets. Like, life is, to me, like Skyrim, where there's just, like, a bunch of skills and shit. So when people at, like, 5 years old are memorizing musicals and studying the musicology of pop, it makes sense that later on, he's on his voice note game and WhatsApp doing hooks and shit with very hook-centric music.
Yeah.
And it makes sense that if you're practicing videography skills, trying to impress the WWE, that you would then later on be tapping into that shit for videography. Like to me, nothing anybody does at their older ages is unrelated to what they did when they were young. So if you're ever fucking sitting there trying to find out what you should do with your life, go back in time and you'll find the answer because you already cared about it once.
That's deep. Because no script. I didn't realize that till this moment that I said it out loud right now. That's when I started, like, filming.
That's really dope. How did you go about it, like, logistically on some curious shit? Because that sounds like pre-iPhone line.
Yeah, we had, so it was a group of 4 of us that used to wrestle. And one of the 4 of us had their own camcorder, like, video camera type thing. So they would bring it to my place, and the 4 of us would choreograph our wrestling matches. Had my dad was a DJ, had the huge speakers, so we had like live entrances, dim the lights, walk to the ring, the whole everything, and then we'd have our match and everything. So that camera, it'd be if those other 3 are having a match, then I would be the one filming it. If I was in the match, somebody else would be filming it. And then we would watch it after and study it and try to get better, because at that time we wanted to be wrestlers. I wanted to be a wrestler before I wanted to be a rapper.
And what's also dope about that...
Before I even started rapping. Before I even started rapping, I was wrestling.
It's not that weird that people who end up rapping do other things first. Like, people sometimes just have other interests and then discover music later in life and jump in. There's the people who fucking started at 4 years old and there's some prodigy level shit. But like,
yeah, I discovered music in high school because the group of friends that I hung out with were more popular than I was, and I was like, I was short, I had big ears, so people would make fun of me, right? I was Dumbo, I was Monkey, I was this, that, everything. But I was always a cool person. People always liked me for me, but, you know, when it'd be like the older kids and everything that had established girlfriends and, you know, you're in grade 7, you're just trying to find yourself a girl, I would always get doors closed on me, like, he's ugly, he's this, he's that. So music started for me as being a way that I can do something that girls would give me attention. That is the first reason I started making music, was for pussy.
Yo, bro, why do you think I started this shit? Like, no lie. Like, why do you think I fucking started music? I was like, wait, I can rap.
Yeah.
And I mean, I could like copy rap songs.
Yeah. And for me,
like
I was
17. Yo.
Yeah. I wasn't the best looking guy. I wasn't the most athletically built person. So it wasn't like I could just post up and, by the sake of my looks, get a girl. At that time, I had to talk on the phone for endless hours. Anybody that grew up in this time knows what I'm talking about. I'm talking about when you live with your parents and it's 12 o'clock at night and you're talking to the girl and then you hear your parents coming around. You have to hang up the phone fast and then pretend you weren't on the phone, and then she's gonna call your number, let it ring once, but you know you gotta call back in about 10-15 minutes type of thing. I mean, I had to talk a lot to even be able to go to a girl's house, let alone I didn't even get a kiss. But this is, you know, never realized at the time that my lingo was developing. I was learning how to talk to different people. Wasn't getting the box, but I was learning how to get a reaction from different people. And then when the music started, now it became like, okay, I'm good at something, and now I know how to talk to a girl, various girls. So now I'm a rapper, and I have a little bit of intellect.
I love everything you just said. That was one of the most amazing.
Then I went to John Abbott College.
Fucking John Abbott. Dude, I forgot about phone calls. I forgot about, like, that shit. I remember getting home at, like, because I wasn't necessarily going to, because you didn't want to do this when your mom's in the room. And you didn't necessarily have a phone in your room if you were lucky.
What? I had a phone in my
you were
room.
Lucky. I had no phone in my room.
Okay, you had none in your room.
I had the living room phone.
Yeah.
So I had to get home, and then it was like parents were home at this time, so I had this window, and so I just got every girl's number. Who could I get on the phone this day and talk to them or whatever? Then the cell phones came. Okay, the cell phones is a bit of a different game.
It was bad. My phone wasn't near my bed, so if I was on the cell phone, if my mom was coming and I had to, it wasn't like I could just pretend I was sleeping. I had to like hang up. Has to be enough time that you can get back into your bed on the other side of the room. It was
Yeah, it's like those
all for the love of the box.
Which I didn't really get at
Young
those days
teenagers.
either. It wasn't. But yo, I hear what you're saying, and I bet a whole lot of dudes develop their gip and gab in an effort to impress the other gender and proceed to get their swag on in such ways, even if it took time to establish that.
Yeah. And then when I started performing and then making mixtapes, and then it became like, okay, we weren't regarded very good. Our first music team was called Dream Team. First music group that I started with. It was me, Grizz, Cray Prince, and Colt 45. I think out of the group, the most naturally talented one was 100% Cray Prince. to this day, I've never been in studio and have seen somebody create the way that he creates ever in my life. Grizz, definitely the close second because he was just natural. Like, he could just say anything with like a confidence and he could make it sound hot. That was just his thing. And then Colt 45, he wasn't as much into the music because he had other things going on. And then there was me fitting into that puzzle. I was the least skilled one at that time, but I always had an ability to storytell. So whereas I couldn't just drop bars, if I had to be recognized above them, I had to come up with something and say a really cool story. And that's when I started understanding my gift in music. If you listen to my music now, you ever notice a lot of my verses are telling a story? They're not just pointless bars. It's me kind of telling a story within it. That's where it came from. Storytelling was my thing. And it was my way to stand out, being with a group of 4 where I was the least, skilled one.
Skill is such a relative term. Your hook game is on point, and a lot of people should be jealous of what you bring with hook game.
Yeah, it developed though, right? It developed. I'm talking about back in the day, So if someone's hearing this that knew me from back then, that's undiluted honesty.
Or J Star.
Yeah, Akil doesn't like that J Star, but still JS NoRegard, still creeping, still out here. shout out Skin Deep.
Skin Deep's wonderful.
He made he engineered the first song that I ever made. I believe it was on Biggie's I'm Going Back to Cali. I think it was on that. And it was horrible, and he endured it and was the engineer. And he told me I was garbage because he's a very honest, blunt person, and I love that about you, buddy. But that's how it started. That's how it started.
It's still okay. He could tell me I'm garbage. I'm still gonna do stuff.
Yeah,
but I don't think he said that about me.
But then we hit steam. Once we got to like call it hit steam, and our whole thing was make as many people hear. Can I hit that? Make as many people hear your music as possible. It doesn't matter if you're shit. Just keep making them hear it. Eventually, they'll be like, oh yeah, I know Dream Team. They're shit. Then we changed our name eventually to Riverside Gang. I know the Riverside Gang, but they're shit. Oh yeah, they're hot. Yeah, they're nice. But now it's just like, well, so many people have an opinion, but so many people know who we are at this point now, right?
It's almost like y'all did troll marketing back in the day.
Man, I'm going to tell you a story right now. A John Abbott story.
I like John Abbott stories because it's a good time.
I heard you and Akil Skin Deep talking about moments at John Abbott College. And I'm going to bluntly say that this was the greatest moment of hip-hop, period, at John Abbott College. Maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit. But it's up there. Give me top 2. Shoot. Our squad, Dream Team, for whatever reason at that time, we believed that the best way to get recognized was to ruffle a few feathers, right? So we would pointlessly, I wouldn't do it. One of the members of my group would diss, but to me, I did it too, because when you're a part of the group, you ride with it. That's what it is. So he would call out other known rappers, and it was like the 50 Cent approach, like come in and just squash Ja Rule. I guess if you want to use like an idea, right? So when we went to John Abbott, I'm from LaSalle. So when I went to John Abbott, I knew nobody. All my friends went to Vanier or went to Dawson. I wanted to do something completely new, so I said, I'm going to John Abbott, and I'm forcing myself to be isolated. I know nobody, and I'm starting from the beginning.
That's a trip when you do that. When you do that, I don't know nobody at Abbott shit. It's fucking culture shock.
Yeah. I mean, from LaSalle, I take the 113 to Angrion. From Angrion, I take the Metro to Lionel Grew, and then I take the 211 for about an hour and a half or 2 hours if you're in traffic. It depends on when you're and then do that all the way back. Shout out to the Discman, because the Discman did wonders back in those days. So I was there pretty much by myself, but I made music, right? So I would give out my CDs and everything. John Abbott was at that time very dominated by a group called Black Mob. Not John Abbott, but the West Island. I think the most popular group in the West Island and the most popular group to be respected was 100% Black Mob at that time. for my point of view. Somebody else might have their point of view, but that's mine. If you say the wrong thing about them in the West, they'll find you, or somebody that they know. They roll deep. They roll deep. So one day, Dream Team decided to make a diss about this squad named Black Mob. We're from LaSalle. They're from the West Island. So this stirred up this whole big thing between Texas and Black Mob. So I was the only one at the time that went to John Abbott. So my friends that made music with me would come and visit me every now and again, but I was the one that had to deal with all of these guys. You know what I mean? That I would be seeing type of thing. So one day, Bill, who we know, was
shout out Bill,
was putting together a talent show. So at this talent show, Black Mob they'd make fun of me. I would walk by them, go to get my poutine, right by I don't remember the names, but across from the swimming pool there.
Oh yeah,
you know,
yeah.
And they would do things like this with the back of their ears, not on me, but do this when I'm walking. When I would turn around, they would stop doing it. I was being trolled on an ultimate level, basically. So I developed so much animosity that I'm like, I want to go on stage and I want to diss the shit out of them. That's what I want to do. So we had to do like a run through with Bill so he could see what I was doing for the show. So I wrote like a fake song that I had no intention on performing, just so he gave me the okay that I could have the slot to perform it, you know? Bill gave it to me. It was over an Eminem beat, but I can't remember the song. But it was just something I just did for the time. So then now fast forward, this tension keeps boiling between this Dream Team and Black Mob thing. So my Dream Team music partners now came to school the day of the talent show, and we wrote a song. Hook said, "We don't give a fuck about you. We tote big guns front, we'll pop you. We're creeping through your hood, West Island. We're creeping through your hood." It was just this song that was a statement that we are in your territory. There's 3 of us here, and we're gonna do this on your territory, right? We get that later?
Yeah.
Sorry, you guys got to wait on the story a little bit.
It's just tension. We're all on the edge of our seats for this one. I was like, this is one of those you should smoke a joint stories.
You know what I mean? It's like roll up right now. It's the roll up hour now. Y'all roll up at home. Where's the camera? There. Y'all watch it. Roll this up. Roll up.
Or you know what? Drink herbal teas if that's your shit.
So, yeah, the talent show.
I saw what you did with the roll up there. That just took a second to click.
I'm glad you did.
It was Bonnie. Bonnie caught that. I didn't even
hilarious. Shout out Bonnie. My lady friend Bonnie. Think about it. So, yeah, we, day of the talent show, it was a packed crowd. What was the name of that spot? Right, we were walking in the hallway on the Agora. The Agora, exactly.
That was the first place I ever rapped. I'm never gonna.
Yeah, exactly. The Agora. So seats piled up people. So we went on the stage, performed.
We're talking just so you guys have context, like 200-300 people, no problem, could fill that area.
Yeah, it was packed. It was like packed. There's video footage on YouTube of this. Fun fact. We could roll that up live if we wanted to.
We could, but let's just run the story and they can keep it up after.
Anyways, so we performed a few songs, whatever, but then the main song built up. It was the last song. We were dissing this Black Mob squad, and they were all in attendance because they all wanted to kind of see what we had to do, but none of them knew that we were doing a diss track. So one of them, one of my group mates had a bar about sleeping with his girlfriend, even though it wasn't true. But the way that it was done, and he's a clever person, Cray Prince is a very smart musician. He dropped the beat, and in dropping the beat, I couldn't quote him, but it was like, I fucked your bitch, and blah, 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 and the beat like dropped back. But it was purposely done so the crowd can clearly hear a cappella exactly what he's saying. And these are the most popular guys at that time in John Abbott. So the bar got dropped, and then Bill shut down the concert. They cut the mics, the fire alarm went off, the police came because there were threats at John Abbott. That's why I was wondering if you were there, because if you went to John Abbott at that time, You remember this. You remember this. It was a big thing.
I definitely don't remember this.
Yeah. So we made our statement on that day, but then afterwards, I'm the only one that goes to John Abbott. So they obviously, catch wind of this and wanted to confront me. I was hiding in the psychology department, which was like in a completely different, because we were in the basement, our lockers, right? I was like hiding. I was doing anything not to go to my locker because these guys who meant business were coming to school to find me because I needed to be checked, kind of thing. And I do tell this story right now to give you guys a story of hip hop and like how this musical moment was the banger for my career, and we'll talk about how it catapulted. But the consequence came one day. I was with my ex-girlfriend. I was in a store. And two people came in. One of them approached me and said, "Yo, what's up? Your Dream Team?" I was like, yeah. He's like, "Yeah, cool. I heard your music." I was like, "Oh, appreciate that." He's like, "I'm Black Mob." And then shit just got really not funny. And then I was showed an instrument of damage. And I was told not to fuck with them. And when that guy walked out of that store, he looked at my ex and he said, "When you're ready to fuck with a real, come holler at me." And I stood there in silence. When you see that flame, you gotta humble yourself, right? So I tell this story to give context as to what I've become. Am I proud of it? No. And actually, I'm very good friends and have become very good with a lot of these guys that were involved in this situation. So it's nothing for me to really talk about it or whatever. Cool people now, right?
Yo,
but
big knowledge nugget.
It's part of my story, but this could have not gone the right way, type of thing. But thank God I'm still here.
Nah, but I mean, like, it's actually a big lesson.
Undiluted.
It's a big lesson, and it's dramatic as fuck, and it's a great story, so I appreciate you telling it. But sometimes people do talk a little bit too much shit without actually considering the consequences of the shit talk. I'm guilty of this. I've had to have been a little bit checked here and there along the way. Sometimes you realize, sometimes people are not afraid to slap you or worse. Like you might.
Yeah.
And you might not believe it, or it might not be your regular world as you talk whatever. But some people might actually also not have more to do with their time than to consider these things.
Yeah.
Not to insult anybody, but there are people who will obsess over some shit. And it might be you and your shit talk. It's a big lesson.
Yeah.
So I appreciate it. Look, that's why we get the knowledge nuggets, because that's what people's life stories are. It's a series of wisdoms and lessons and shit.
And I do want to say this too, because for the people that are watching this that are like Montreal historians, LaSalle historians, what got me out of this situation was a man by the name of Dave Lockhart went to John Abbott. And if anybody knows Dave Lockhart, rest in peace. If anybody knew Dave Lockhart, he's a very popular man, and he is a LaSalle legend, and nobody would ever say otherwise, right? So he's family, right? We grew up together, all that stuff. So one day he went up to like a group of them. They must have been like 9, 10 of them. And I'm not going to say exactly what he did, but he let it be known who I was and that they were friends to him, but I'm family. And from that day, I never heard anything negative. Nothing ever again. It was just pure respect. So rest in peace, Dave Lockhart. Anybody hearing this story from LaSalle that, you know what I mean? Like, that's what Dave did. Dave fixed that real quick. And I'm diluting the story of how he fixed it. He was ready to go to war in that moment, and like 9, 10 people all backed off and were just like, nah. Never got bothered again. So rest in peace, Dave.
Yeah, that's another serious one. Also, there's entire pockets of the world that are like nothing like that. In case you're worried that that's the entire everything, that's just a moment in time that played out the way it did. And entire other people, like I went to Abbott, and my experience was a lot more. I hung out in the club rooms and was involved in the tea of the club rooms.
Yeah.
Not that exciting.
See, I always wanted to get to the top. I always it was always a passion of music, but it was an understanding of how to finesse situations, how to take advantage of moments to try to maximize the perception that you put on yourself. And sometimes it's been to my detriment, admittedly, but sometimes they've been very, very good and calculated moves. On that note, has anybody ever had to use the bathroom while being live
Absolutely.
with you before?
Go use your thing.
People
It's
do
totally,
that?
Yeah, you're totally allowed to use the bathroom. That's the thing that you can do. Hi, everyone.
Oh, I hear that.
So yeah, it's really cool that you're able to still like resolve shit and go through that whole experience, and that in a sense it happened in a way that checks you without actually harming you.
Yeah, I got checked. That moment in front of my ex-girlfriend at the time when, when you're with your girl, you're shopping. It was one of them stores, them hip-hop stores that sold the Pepe jeans, the Pele Peles, the Sean Johns, the Academics. It was one of those type of hip-hop stores. When you see somebody come in with your girl and then just kind of like does that to you and shows you what he's doing damage with, and then you're forced to like shut up, it really becomes like, but you're talking all that on music. Mind you, I was never one to talk about killing on music. I was like always a witty insulter. I'll insult you witty, but how they're interpreting that with their lifestyle and their street lifestyle is like, if you're going to say that, say it to me now. What we're here right now. What do you want to do? And then when I looked down and I saw that little something, I won't do it again.
Yep.
I'll stop.
That would be my approach.
And then he looked right in her eye and said, when she's ready to get with a real, come holler at him. And then imagine the moment now he walks out the store and you look at your girl and you're, all right, so you want to go eat? I mean, that's a pride hit that stays with you for a long time.
Like, she might not say anything, but
shout out to Black Mom. They ran it back in that day. They really did run it in the West Island. Yeah.
Bro,
Big
I have
time.
no idea anything happened in the West Island. Like, I'm like in a completely different life, completely different reality. Nothing like that. Even though I was living in Bucktown.
Yeah. Well, I was, they say when you're looking for trouble, trouble will find you. That's what my mom says. Boy, when you're looking for trouble, trouble gonna find you. So I was admittedly looking for attention. So when you're looking for it, you're going to get it. But if you're in the West Island and you're not looking for attention, it's a very quiet and peaceful, the peaceful place that you know. You know what I mean? Basically.
Yeah, I was definitely a coward back then. There's no way I was looking for that kind. I didn't even like start music proper back then.
Yeah.
Like, I was just kind of like, I was able to intercourse with a person.
Yeah,
and that became my biggest priority in life.
But you see, for us, the popularity took off after that, right? Because this was like it wasn't, at that time, it wasn't like people who listened to hip hop knew about it, but it kind of transcended that, where now if you're just a student at John Abbott that knows nothing about hip hop, you're going home and you're telling your friends or your mom, your parents, what happened in school today. The fire alarm went off. It was a whole big shutdown. That's crazy. Whole big thing. And Bill, I had to look Bill in the eye and be like, yeah, and he trusted me. He allowed me to have the stage, and I showed him a fake song I was going to be recording. The irony. I'm sorry, Bill, if you're watching this somewhere. Is he alive? Do we know?
Yeah,
that?
he is. He's friends with me on Facebook. I don't know if we ever got along, because I got kicked out of C-Sky by some dumb shit. So
C-Sky is a throwback.
I got kicked out of that shit because I basically wrote a poem that like attacked the people that I was working with on some like y'all are fucking idiot shit, and then that got me kicked out, and so Bill no longer liked me after that. And then I used to hit up Bill, be like, yo, check out my music. Can I come perform at Abbott? I tried that a couple of times, no lie. It didn't go very far.
Yeah. John Abbott was the best time of my life for a lot of reasons. Not just that, but just, we touched on the fact that I went there without having any friends. There was a lot of growth in me that 100% made me the person that I am today.
I think Sage-Up
100%.
inherently is one of the best things Quebec ever invented. And it's like the university fun without the workload, and then it preps you for that workload later on.
Yeah.
It might be one of the most successful things that is underrated in this province. Because, I did 3 years at Abbott. It was the lightest course load ever.
Yeah.
And got to like fuck around, but also take like learn a lot.
Yeah.
Yo,
Me too.
like moments, and then you're in the West Island, so it's not like you're downtown, and it's like a completely different vibe, right? Like, it's
and
just,
John Abbott's like on a farm, basically. Like, there's, when you say West Island, you just got to make it known. It's not like the West Island where, you know, you have your bars and your pubs and your Fairview Mall. Like, no, John Abbott is isolated, for those that don't know,
Fairview's
on
like
a
halfway
farm.
to Abbott, if you're lucky.
You know what I mean? There's nothing around. There's like a bar, the student bar, which was this place to go.
There was no bar by the time I'm there.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's the one.
There was one in St. Anne de Bellevue. Yeah,
Okay,
that was popping for like probably still
I
now.
never went, but like, it wasn't that lit.
Yeah,
me.
that was it.
But
was lit.
I ended up getting into weed at Abbott because like I found like most people either like house partied, and I wasn't like getting invited to that shit.
Yeah.
Because keep in mind,
I wasn't getting invited to the house parties either, but I always hear them talking about it in the hallway. But I was never invited to them.
But, like,
Still wasn't there yet. I wasn't popping yet.
I started 2005, right after the smoking ban.
Yeah.
So the West Island's entire like nightlife literally died that year. There's like 5 bars left after.
Yeah.
Everybody's going downtown, and I was really on my don't drink and drive shit.
Yeah,
so I would drive places and try to party, but then sober up, and it was like, you know what? I'm gonna just smoke weed with some peeps.
Yeah.
You know, like it just. The West Island was not like the littest place in 2005 to 2008 as far you had to go
2005. I was that was my last
year. The other
year.
half of it.
Once you
came
go
in and all the bars closed, and now everybody's going downtown and everything's like, yo, that was like a miserable
Oh, you
time.
just missed it then, man.
Literally by like
it was lit, and the thing about that bar was like there was nowhere else to go. Right, so you imagine the people in their dorm rooms. Most people are gonna go home when you leave, but it's like it's like a resort. You're there. John Abbott, like your local bar, that's where everyone's gonna go. Any girl that you've seen that you're like, should I talk to her? Should I not? If she's outgoing, she will be there one of the days out of the sometime. It was the only place to go. So that was crazy cool. I didn't take advantage of it till a little bit late because, you know, I was alone. I made friends, you know, gradually type of thing, like I mentioned. But then once I was comfortable, that was the wave.
I took the weed route, and I looked like Silent Bob, while Silent Bob was the thing to look like that was advantageous, and it worked really well for me.
Shout out John Abbott.
It was the only time in my life where I looked enough like a celebrity that stoner chicks were like, bro, you look enough like Silent Bob that I kind of want this.
Yo, that opportunity. Growing up in LaSalle, girls didn't like me. LaSalle girls, when I was growing up, y'all didn't like me. So you guys forced me to find a new home in Verdun. And then I realized Verdun girls and French girls really liked me. I was like, okay, I got something. Then I went to John Abbott, and then I realized, oh, y'all just social butterflies out there. I got that social aspect down because y'all didn't like me at the beginning, so y'all forced me to talk my ass off. So now, okay, now I could talk to, now my social game is wide open, and it's like, okay, now not all girls are gonna like me, but now it's like you've been through the ones that don't like you. You find something that works, and then now that you've perfected it, it's like, okay, now I'm more confident in myself.
But you said something big about Abbott where I think it's a little different than the Dawsons and the Vanians of the world. There really ain't shit to do around Abbott.
I'm telling you,
bro. There's nothing, and like you might have the one friend who lives in like St. Anne's that you can chill with, but the thing is you would often just end up having schedules that you weren't able to like dip out and go anywhere. So everybody just hung out at the fucking school all day. It's a
resort. It's like a resort. If you see a girl on a resort on the Tuesday, it's not like Wednesday, shit, I'm never going to see that person again. No, she's somewhere. That's how John Abbott was. And at that age, for me growing up, money, hoes, and clothes, all a nigga knows, that's what it was. I was living with my parents, so it was money, hoes, and clothes. I was trying to look fly. I was trying to get hoes. You know what I mean? That's
the best time. Yeah.
And you couldn't go anywhere?
Bro,
John Abbott was the
shit. I had a
shiz.
Lincoln Town Car in my last year at Abbott.
Really? I never had the car at John Abbott.
Bro, I can
one
tell
of my
you
fails.
one thing. You pull up in the Lincoln, and people who don't, and it was an old Lincoln. It wasn't like it was a.
You pull up in anything at that time.
No, I'm telling you, the Corsica and the Lincoln did not get the same reaction.
Okay.
The Lincoln had this sentence: we can lie down fully in the back and comfortably fuck.
Yeah, cozy.
And bro, I went broke on gas money at that time. I'm telling you, it cost $7 to get from my apartment in Dollar to John Abbott, one direction.
But that must have built up your confidence, though.
It did teach me a lot about materialism and women.
Yeah. I
don't mean it like that, because there's a lot of people that are not like that and whatever, but like, the number one thing on a plenty of fish thing that you want to lie about if you're gonna lie is, do you have a car?
100%. And you see, I'm just going to add to what you said. You see how yours was a car? It's money, hoes, and clothes. Mine was clothes. Maybe I should have invested in the car in hindsight, because that is, but my thing was, I always look fly at John Abbott.
Is
always.
When you're at the park, you have somewhere to get a little action.
Yeah.
You could drive a little somewhere to the forest. And
Yeah.
One time we got caught, though, by public security in the church on the corner of fucking St. Charles and Beaconsfield. She was 17, and they had to... I was 18, she was 17. So they had to change the crime out of courtesy to just public... because they didn't want to write on the ticket.
Yeah.
Some real shit that happened with the car.
Damn, it be that way on the come up, man. It be on that way. If you're a rapper and you haven't been, like, caught fucking in public when you were young back in the day, throwback stories. I was talking to a thing at the park, and then she was like, yo, you want to go take a walk? And then if you haven't had someone walk in on you when you're getting head or doing something,
oh my god, dude, I don't know, man. I was at the library.
This was life growing up.
Third floor of the library watching a movie. It was Glory. And she was performing fellatio, and
through a glory hole.
No, and just in the library, because they had those rooms upstairs you could rent.
Yeah,
and then some girl caught us, and then she was like, "Oh, we were so afraid."
You remember her face, don't you?
I will never forget her.
Anybody that gets caught always remembers the face. Always remembers that face of the person. You always remember that. And
then we finished.
Oh, you guys finished?
Well, I mean, after about like 3 minutes, we realized we weren't gonna get in trouble. So I was like,
Oh, yeah, you like that? You like that? People see what I'm doing. She's gonna go tell some people to come on. You just keep make a time out of it.
Right. You learn the experiences in life that shape you, right? Like
that's 100%.
Abbott's just full of nooks and crannies, bro. You would go to that same psychology floor.
Yeah.
Because there'd be nobody there at 5:30.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody could go back to her crib or my crib.
Yeah.
In those classrooms. Yeah. That's just what you would do.
Yeah, man. That's John Abbott was life. And even the buses, man. The 211 on the way back, like if you got a seat, if you had to stand up.
Oh my God.
So the schedule was the last class would end at 5:30, but they let you out at like 5:15, right? And if you had to take that 211, if you went to Abbott, you know.
You do know.
I mean, that bus ride was long, but there would be girls from the Abbott. Then they would scoop up. What was the other school? I don't remember. There was another school. And then they'd get to Dorval. Like, there was so many people that you were meeting along the way. And me, I was, like, becoming a social butterfly.
Oh, there's the fucking adult ed.
Yes.
Cartier.
Yes, Cartier. Thank you. Cartier. Yes, exactly. So it's like you're in a mashup on the bus of like different people, like all those little elements which sometimes are just like, oh, this is so, but like, no, man,
it's circle and it flips up even more.
Yeah.
You run that till you know, bro, you'd probably see 500 hot girls sometimes on a good bus ride. Well, maybe not 500.
And I keep like tying this into like girls, but you know, that's kind of what it was. 18, right? If you're gonna be, if you're 18, you're coming back 17. If you're coming back from John Abbott to Lionel Grew an hour plus on a bus, what else can you hope for other than a seat and some eye candy?
Bro,
you have your Discman, you know your playlist. What else? You're just listening to your music. You're sitting down.
Like, I'm
least you can do is give me a girl that might look at me, smile.
That's it.
Like, that was life,
bro. To get the smile. And then she gave you the second smile.
Oh, that was life.
You got the second smile, bro. It didn't matter if you guys wouldn't even have to look. You're just good for the rest of the day.
See, that's when I tapped into my power because I was never the best looking person, but I was the mouthpiece for my team. Any guy that's been around me from high school, my music group, vouch. I was the mouthpiece. After a while, when you get rejected so many times, you don't care to get rejected anymore. So I always had this ability of just like, I'm going to shoot my shot. What are you going to say? You're going to tell me no? Or you're going to say something I haven't heard? And it's like, whatever. So I would throw out, like, sometimes if I go to a club, like 20 shots, but I'm going to catch two. Two people in one day is pretty decent if you're just trying to pick up girls type of thing, right? So coming back to that, like, smile thing, like that element of when someone smiles at you and is like, shit, what am I going to say? She has earphones on, and whatever it is that comes out of your mouth, when it works and you get the phone number, like you go home, like tell me you're not rating your essay at a different level. Tell me you're not doing it just made you feel a little bit more than I just went through a bus ride. I'm bored. That was life. That was everything back then. That was
It's
everything.
Like, when I get to drop this sentence, oh, I'm sorry, I have a girlfriend. Bro, if I get to drop that organically because somebody's trying to pick me up or whatever, oh my God, it's the same shit.
Yeah.
You hate that, but you come home after, you look at her, you're like, oh, it's a different energy.
Mm-hmm.
Everything you do. Cause it's like, yo, because that's random shit. That's like, you can't ask for that. It just happens.
It just happens.
And that's just validation that you are what you are.
Yeah, man. That's no doubt. I'm glad that I think we relate on the topic of college. I think John Abbott, I mean, I can't look at myself and say, oh, that's what changed me and now because I'm not where I want to be. Like, still many goals, you know what I mean? But I'm proud of myself. John Abbott is what shaped me. John Abbott had a unique impact on me, and Joel Hart, rest in peace. I'm like, greatest teacher of life.
There's so many different like corners and pockets at Abbott that exist where it's like but frankly you would all end up sharing classes with these people, like whatever person you were with, because you just had to. It's just you were all taking the same courses. And there's so many weird ones, like just random shit, like library technology shits, and then the police tech fucking people. Oh my gosh, the police tech fucking people.
Correction, that hallway.
Yeah, that would be
no one's moving for you. They all walking in a straight line,
bro.
Straight line, like they the inmates. They ain't moving for you
with the fake guns and shit.
Yeah. I had one course there. Was it a macroeconomics class?
That was the hallway to the 200. The good bus. That was the hallway you had to take.
Yeah,
to the good
exactly,
bus.
exactly. I had one class once, but I stayed away from there. I never liked the vibe over there. Mind you, the other guys were like making fun of me on the other end, but I stuck there for whatever reason.
Closer to the good pizzagetti.
Yeah, it is what it is, right? It is what it is. Oh, pizza.
Yo, bro, Thursday's pizzagetti, $5.
I just caught
That's
you.
what it is.
I just caught what you said.
Yo, it's crazy.
Yo, you bringing me back, man.
Yo, I know it's Abbott times, but like, we talked a lot about a lot of this stuff that came after in the last interview, right? So y'all don't, if you want to know, JS does have a whole other interview where he talked about flag football, but he brought up a lot of the NoRegard thing. If y'all want to really know about the NoRegard thing, I feel like, I don't know how deep you want to go on that, because there's a whole movie coming that they should be going to watch,
Yo, yeah, that's a fact. It's my life's work. It's me getting made fun of, me learning how to intellectually speak for myself, me learning how to edit, me learning how to make music, me understanding people, all comprised into one project. Everything that I've learned has been shot into this. And music always came first to me. There's a reason that this documentary, like, I'm the soundtrack to it. When you see a scene in the movie and you hear the song that reinforces it, as I explained to my influence in WWE, it becomes like, this is everything that I've learned within this. And Scotia Bank were gracious enough to step up to the plate and allow me to premiere it there. Took a lot of emailing. They were a little hard-headed, but eventually, they got on board. You know what I mean? But shout out Scotia Bank. But it was a lot of emails. You guys know. Shout out Julia. But yeah, man, it's I think people could look forward to an awesome story that's being told. It's about my flag football team. The flag football team is called NoRegard. We started off in the league being like basically a bunch of guys that just are hanging out and want to play football together.
When? It's a good thing to establish.
2011. 2011.
This is several years after you finished SAGEP.
Yeah, this is several years after I finished SAGEP. I kept with the music. I ended up with Steph, and yeah, so it's a few years after that. about 5. Call it that.
And then you start the flag football process, the NoRegard life.
Exactly. So that was with 2 of my friends, KD and Demi. We were entering a flag football league. So because we loved Wiz Khalifa, we called our first flag football team Taylor Gang. And we were like, yeah, we're gonna go and this. But I was always into the music. I was always making videos. So I would document our games, right? But Taylor Gang were really shitty. We won 1 game and we lost 9 in the season, right? Terrible team. But documented everything, because in my mind, we're going to document, we're going to win, and then we're going to post it, and it's going to look good, and kind of, we went 1-9. But through that, I always posted. I always showed our struggle no matter what. Always showed it. So fast forward, we made another team the next year. We said we're coming back, and we need to fix this, right? So our team then became NoRegard. The name NoRegard came as a slogan that we all just say to each other. Like, if you smoked the whole spliff and then didn't even offer to be like, yo, you have no regard. You didn't even, and it was just like you take the last sandwich, you have no regard. It was just something we said to each other. So we said, you know what? Let's call the team name NoRegard. So our first year, we went 9-0-1. 9 wins, 0 losses, 1 tie. But within this, I kept documenting everything that I was doing. I always documented. But now we were winning. So that's the key element. We were winning. So now it looks like you're winning, and then I'm making all these videos. I'm showing my rap career. I'm on CTV News doing this in hip-hop because it, became pretty successful. I'm showing all this. So the league is now like, you guys are fucking annoying. Play football, shut the fuck up, and, that's it. Why are you even crossing your music stuff? We don't care. We kept winning. I kept doing it more. At the end of the season, we went undefeated. Didn't lose 1 game, and we won the championship. So when we won the championship, the pot kind of blew up because then now people started rocking our clothes, NoRegard. Girls were rocking it, guys were rocking it. You could literally go on a metro oftentimes and you'll see somebody with a NoRegard. And because that's when Twitter was like at its peak, people would have their Twitter handle on our clothing. So you'd see someone and be like, oh, you're at Ton Up Queen on Twitter. I remember it's like, oh yeah, NoRegard. And it was like people would start making a lot of connections to who we were based on our merchandise type of thing, right? So then Nick Diaz wore our clothes. Jake Shields, Forrest Griffin repped it. So UFC fighters started. So the perception now was just like, this is picking up steam, which it was, but we kept posting in the league. And now you have the old guard in the league, the players that have been there, established players. Some of them played in the CFL, and they play in this league just for conditioning. So these are like big-time guys. So they're like, shut the fuck up. Come to our division, because at this time we were in the lowest division. Like, come play with the big dogs. And then, but we were in the lowest division, and we were working our way up. But our popularity was we had the attention of the whole league, because social media, sorry about hitting the mic, social media made it unique. With social media, it's different because the old guard had every right to feel like, we're the vets here, shut the fuck up. But with the social media perspective, we're doing things, there's UFC fight, it just added this element where people just hated it more, right? So, can I get that lighter, please? So that's what the documentary stems from, and eventually it led into us becoming loved in the league. Loved, you know what I mean? All these players wanted to play for NoRegard after a while. A unique fun fact is that when I played for this NoRegard team, I used to film all my games, right? I filmed everything. So I would post highlight videos. So one day the league asked me if I can do a video for them, because I would always do it for free. I just do videos for free. Like, guys, give me a job, give me a job, give me a job. They didn't want to give it to me because I'm the loud mouth. I was the most hated person in the league. Am I lying? In 2012, I was the most hated person in the league. I'm talking about 400 comments on a post of pure hate towards Lance Daniel. Then the league gave me an opportunity and allowed me to edit one of their projects. Hit the home run. They loved it. They were like, oh, yep. Then they asked me to do another job for them. Hit the home run to the point where I got the job and the person who was doing it before me kind of fizzled out because I was good at it, right? So now it's like I've documented everything as a NoRegard bad guy, but now I work for the league and I'm doing the exact same thing, but now I'm filming the league. So now your perception is, I love this shit. I've always been good at editing. You never hated me because of my editing. You hated that I was editing NoRegard. But now that I'm working for the league, the perception just turned. I want you filming my game. Became, sorry about that again, one of the most popular players in the league, right? I don't want to say popular players because of talent. Absolutely not. But because I'm the guy that films these games.
Quite literally the use case and case in point of talent really isn't the most important thing. Like your life, that's the thing that I've always found the most interesting about you. It's like you're able to like walk into a situation and create value rather than focusing on being the best per se. Like you want to be the best, but it's on a value front. So you want to be the capture of attention because frankly you're interesting, not because you're like the most talented touch football player.
That's what I had to do with my dream team squad, right? Making music. I had to tell stories because you hit it on point.
But to me, like, dude, I know this is going to be weird, but I'm a 33-year-old dude. If I was the best rapper in the world, don't you think it would have happened by now? Like in my head, like I have to so it's not really about being the best. It's about, to me, being the most interesting.
And consistent, you know?
I think consistency is part of interesting. People just take that as like a faith thing. Like you have to prove you can do it over time.
Yeah.
But being interesting is just harder than being talented because everyone can develop talent. People think it's like natural. Nah, these are I've talked to people. Natural is motherfuckers' parents had them at 4 years old doing it, and you didn't have a parent at 4-year-old doing it.
Yeah.
With like limited exceptions, for the sake of the people out there who are really semantic-y, if you're 5'7" like me, I'm never playing ball. Got it. Mm-hmm. There are obvious rules and limitations based on that, but like within the realms of like take rapping and shit. Like if you started at 4, you're probably better than the guy you started at 20.
There's a basketball term, boos don't block shots. Like you could pay a team millions of dollars to stop a basketball player from scoring. Millions of dollars. Your job is to play defense and stop Kobe Bryant from scoring. That is your job. You have every incentive in the world to stop this person. But when you're that good and that persistent, it doesn't matter. He scored 81 points. Doesn't matter.
I see what you're saying.
When you're that consistent and good, there's only so much the universe can do before it eventually starts bending and cracking. And you don't even have to be on like Mamba level, but you know, even on like a small scale like
it's
me.
Also like I think it serves true. Persevere, like even if you look into NoRegard, you have like these celebrities involved. These are things that are real. Nobody in history can say that Nate Diaz didn't wear your shirt. Who the fuck cares how it happened? That's all. I mean, we care. But like, you know, in the greater picture of it, it's like, yo, being on a pointless list in Montreal, being on these things, these are accolades, being able to do things in your life that stack up to being above the exception of the average human, whatever they may be, is what it is. Those are the kind of like the culminations of success, I find. Like, I look at it especially maybe because I'm an interviewer, but you'd be surprised at how many people that have, let's say, high performing careers with regards to numbers have really not as lit careers with regards to stories. It's like, bro, I made songs, and then I made the next set of songs, and then I made the next set of songs. And I don't mean no disrespect to that. All love. But, like, I would rather have a life personally where I die and I just have a lot of cool stories.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear that. It's legacy. I think one thing that is cool about my career is that, you know, sometimes nowadays you have that one friend that's always like taking pictures. You're like, put your camera away. Why do you always have to be taking pictures of me? Stop. I was that guy with a video camera. Always, since high school. Anybody that sees this that went to Riverside, you guys know, I was the camera guy. Always be filming things. Sometimes it's like, stop filming. And it serves so accurate that any guy or girl that has known me from 2000 until 2021 now, haven't I always been consistently something to do with a camera? So because of that now, making a documentary, I work for the league now. So I am the video archives. Now I have all this footage I accumulated of NoRegard, because I used to just do it for free because I documented my whole life. Pandemic hit, and now it's like, how can I make more money? So I had the name NoRegard trademarked. So I said, you know what? Let me relaunch the clothing and maybe this thing can catch steam. So strictly about clothing. Shout out to Steph. She's done an amazing job promoting it. Wonderful. And the interesting thing about that was I was making the documentary in the pandemic, so I wasn't able to focus on clothes. It was impossible to do two things. So she spearheaded the clothes, and I was able to stay focused on the documentary, right? So my logic was, if you know me, and I know a lot of people, you'll buy NoRegard because you know me. But if you don't know me, you're just somebody off the street, and you just see NoRegard like I have it on my shirt, what would make you buy this? Why wouldn't you buy Nike? Why wouldn't you buy Reebok? Why would you buy NoRegard? You have to connect with the person that doesn't know you in order to become a bigger entity, right? So my logic was, well, it's COVID. You have nothing to do anyways. Your video contracts have been slowed down anyways just because people aren't paying for contracts anymore because of all the COVID and all that. So it was like, well, why not just take the time and just make a documentary and make an origin story since you have all the footage anyway, and make an origin story, make a documentary. Okay. Then it was like, well, I need new footage. I need some interviews. So there was a few people I wanted to reach out to. Kevin Lubin was a #1 person on my list. Shout out Kevin Lubin. Where he was such an intricate part to the story that I'm like, the NoRegard story cannot be told unless he says yes. And he said yes. I'm like, okay. Then my second person was Keyshawn. Shout out Keyshawn. He said yes. Okay. My last one was like, if Theo Jaya, shout out Theo, says yes, I think I got something here, because then I have my friends from NoRegard. I can make pretty much everybody I asked to be in a documentary said yes, which blew my mind, because these are people that, I repeat, did not fuck with me. Did not fuck with all three of those names, Keyshawn, Theo, and Kevin Lubin, all at one point strongly didn't fuck with me. They're all in the documentary. I consider them brothers now. So there's a lot of stories being told from the perspective of, I really didn't fucking like this shit, versus they're seeing what it is now and they're telling the new up-to-date stuff, right? Because that's the idea of a documentary. Show the Jordan old clips, but you want to have Jordan talking about it now, have Pippen talking about it now, you know what I mean? Or not Pippen, but, Jordan talking about it now. So you keep it current, right? So in doing it, I was like, okay, this is good. So then I was like, I literally said one day, I think I was smoking, I was like, I spend so many hours doing this, like, why can't I get paid for this? Because Steph is out here working her ass off, many hours, getting paid a lot of money. Whereas I'm working equivalent or more hours doing something that I'm not getting paid for, right? So then I was like, well, what if you could put everybody in the same room and have like a viewing party of sorts? Would people pay to see the documentary? I was like, huh. So I told Steph, I was like, if I could do this, that would be, dope. And I have a friend that works at the Scotia Cinema. His name is Terrence. Shout out Terrence. So then for my birthday, Steph asked him if it was a possibility that my documentary could be premiered. And he said it was worth it, but the timing didn't land on my birthday. But then now it's a thing in the universe. Now my friend is asking me, hey, do you really want to do this? You can message such and such a person and da-da-da-da-da. So now it's like, Okay, now you really got to make a decision. Can you sell tickets to your documentary? Do people care that much? At the beginning, it was COVID. So there was a limited capacity. I was only able to have 40 people in a room that fits 375. I was only able to have 40. That's minimum.
That's not a good number.
Not a good number. So I placed the ticket sales at $40 because it just made logical sense because I had so much less people, I'd have to charge a little bit more, right? So they accepted it, and I signed the contract.
Let me ask a question. Why is it that absurd even? A little bit more. You're an independent filmmaker from Montreal with no backing.
Oh, I believe every penny. I'm just speaking from the perspective of the feedback I've heard.
I mean,
I don't believe it though.
So like, what I'm challenging that idea to the world because I thought it was like at first I said $40 because I'm a cheap fuck, but then I'm like, man, what if I want to go throw an event and motherfuckers aren't gonna pay $40? They'll never pay $50, and if they never pay, we have to get to this like internalized idea. At least for me, this support English local media. That's one of my new like things. Is this not local English media? Like, what kind of hypocrite would that be?
100%.
Well, most people, I'm saying it with time or whatever. In this case, like, what's $40 to honestly go have a good night with a bunch of people?
But see, the point of view of the person launching it is like, you gotta humble yourself. Like, my thing is, I think it's worth every penny. I know the blood, sweat, and tears I put into it, but to someone else, do they care? I know they care, but $40 care? That's a question that if you're going to launch the event, you really kind of have to, Like,
I hear what you're saying, but somebody said to me one time recently, and I guess I'm really fascinated on this topic, is people here have lower self-esteem with regards to putting fiscal value on their art and their work and their approach and their whatever with it. And it's not like a universal thing, but you could probably have sold it for 80. Maybe it would be less people, but you probably could have.
I think I could have sold it for more, seeing how everything turned out. That's why what I did was, because it was that, my thing was, I need to create a buzz around this. Thus comes the promo tour.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's fucking cool to see him put this together
right?
In real time.
The idea is, I have my cover art, and I want to post my cover art every day for you guys, but that's hella annoying. But if I attach dates of my promo tour, and I update my promo tour every day, it gives me an excuse to post my cover every day, and it lets you see a schedule of what I'm doing. So I sent out a bunch of emails, did my research and everything. So I had like a CKU, two CKUT interviews, 2 radio interviews on CKUT. And I had you. That was the first one that I had lined up, right, behind the suit. So in my mind, if I post this, it looks like, all right, July 1st, you're doing nothing. July 2nd, you got this, open. So the idea is, if you can create enough buzz, maybe people will want to fill the void for those open dates that you post. And I'm posting this every day. Then Global News had me on. So when that went on the promo tour, now it adds like that's a whole new perception now, right? Like, this is the promo tour. From my point of view, I'm like, I told you it was the promo tour from the beginning. Of course, there's certain things, where happen that you don't foresee. But I mean, throughout this, I'd be lying if I said that I'm not surprised that local media picked it up, because, I mean, I think it's a good project. I would support this for $40 if I didn't know the person.
Well, it's also clean AF. I don't know how else to put it. Like, a lot of our projects out there might not be so family-friendly in basic presentation. I don't know how family-friendly the film is, but like...
Fairly.
But like,
there's moments that it's not, but fairly.
But like, when you consider what this is, it's honestly like a heartfelt fucking feel good moment of a person who, throughout a bad circumstance local to us, created a masterful art piece through like whatever.
I appreciate that, bud.
Because I know Stephanie, right? Like, I'm not gonna lie and pretend like I ain't been talking to her here and there and had some conversations where she's like, "Oh, Lance is working all the time. He's putting in so much work. He's taking it." So like, I've been listening to that type of shit as it's coming together, and then it's like you see just the meticulous level of everything, but also just down to the marketing, and it's like you put it together and then you did it in a way that did capture more interest. And the fact is, like, having 3 things lined up before you went public was pretty smart. just in general. But also, you put out this flyer, and it's about fucking touch football, and it's the greatest sports story.
Flag football.
Flag football, my bad. I know I might have fucked that up. I'm really not
a
sports
good.
person.
It's all good.
So then it's like, at the end of the day, it's just so fucking, like, normal and innocuous. Like, it's not even scary football where people get hurt. It's just like a football you could go play that you didn't even know was a thing.
That's a bad perception. It's a serious sport. People don't realize who don't watch flag football, which is understandable. If you're not, it's okay. You don't have to, you know, some people don't know. That's why I come into the documentary, right? Flag football is essentially tackle football, except you're taking a flag off of the person's waist to tackle them instead of actually physically tackling them. So when the ball is in the air and two people are going after the ball, there is no difference from tackle football to flag football. Okay. When the ball's in the air and two people are going up for it and they both want it and collision, it is the same. You're landing without pads, if anything. So it's a pretty intense sport. There's a reason why CFL players do it for like conditioning and stuff, right? Because it's like, it's not CFL, but it's enough that it keeps them prepared in the off season so that they can go back into like full steam tackle football kind of thing.
Say word. I mean, I didn't want to like diminish it, but it feels more accessible.
No, it's good. That's why it's you know, I don't know everything. I learned this. I didn't know. I thought the same thing. I thought it was a wimpy sport when I first started, but then
like, cause I don't like picture it to be like wimpy. I picture it to be more accessible. I picture it more like if I want to go play it, I can go play that a lot easier than say like full on tackle football. Yeah. So I guess that's more the perception I want to convey. Is I definitely feel, and then you're like, what is it? You know, like and then you just see this cover and you're all like there, and then you have Mr. like JLB with his voiceover, his fucking little promo thing that you created, like actual promo little videos and trailers and shit.
Shout out JLB, you killed it. Everybody says that. You killed it.
Well, I mean, I feel like I gotta shout out JLB, man. The guy's like like we're not like super homies, but we're like acquaintance homies.
Yeah, man.
Like
definitely.
Via the power of internet. I used to be a fan of your wrestling pool when I was allowed to comment as a spectator, and then you guys like got more serious, and I'm like, well, now it's just Justin fucking.
I'm a two-time champion. I'm not sure if you know.
I do know because I did see the current thing. You're currently in first, or
you're
you're in the top 3 right now.
I'm first place in this. I'm going for 3
more
years in a row.
More importantly, was that Stephanie dropped to like 5th or 6th. That's who I'm watching for, and Mike wasn't up there either. So I'm like, who the fuck am I going for? Everybody's not even there. It's just kind of what it is. I mean,
up on the wave. It's okay.
You're there, but like, I don't know. I've been Team Stephanie and Mike for a long while, so it's like I can't be like flipping up like that.
It's time for something new. New day,
I'm
beginnings.
loyal like that. I'm Team Stephanie, even if she ain't gonna win it this time.
Damn, loyalty to Steph over me. Okay.
Sorry, it is what it is. Especially on this shit. Like, she got me to give up Mike.
That's true.
That happened. So, like, I can't be like flip, because that's like twice in a year. That's a lot of flip flop.
Yeah. I hear that.
Like, you can have like a flip flop like every 5-6 years because of a big moment where you feel like, okay, I'm flipping my sports team here over there. Whatever. I feel like that's allowed. It's like changing your favorite kind of music or some shit. You can't be changing that every 6 weeks.
No matter what side you go on, I'm still gonna win. 3 years, watch. Defending my title again.
It is what it is. For all you that don't know what the fuck we're talking about, Mr. JLB started this wrestling guessing. It's basically the equivalent of fantasy hockey, but with like guessing on who's gonna win wrestling matches for pay-per-views.
Y'all heard this interview. Guess who's a 2-year champion and first place the 3rd year? The story all connects.
And then Stephanie said, I only dropped to 5th because I forgot to put my picks one week because I was out doing mom duties, which the subtext is allowing him to go do his shit, for the record.
Doesn't every athlete who takes an L have a reason why they took an L?
Yeah,
that's just life.
That's amazing.
Shout out Steph.
So the fact is, I'm in this group and I got permission to be there as long as I don't break any of the new rules, which means I'm not allowed to do anything. So I just kind of lost interest. Like, I'm not gonna like participate for real because that would require watching wrestling.
No, you can just guess.
I'm not able to do it.
I'm telling you, man. The gamblers that have the best luck often know nothing about the sport.
Nah, I'm not able to, because you know what's gonna happen is, because with wrestling, it's like a thing, right? It starts off with oh, that guy's there on that one, eh? And then you're looking at his Wikipedia pages. Next thing you know, you're watching Royal Rumble 15 or some shit. I don't know that I can do this.
Well, if you're not a wrestling fan, it's not fun for you.
No, it's not that it's not fun. I'm like a former. I did like a thing with
no,
wrestling.
but if you're not up to date, like you have to watch wrestling in your regular life to be able to appreciate a fantasy pool. You know what I mean?
Now. Like, so it's like to me, it would be like with a bunch of people that like understood what's up. But I like spectating from like a while because I used to be allowed to cheer people on, and then that's kind of like really how I met some people on it. No, I have. I just like to cheer people on in this shit because it was like Mike was winning. And then somebody else was like, I think it was because like Justin was like really like into it, and I'm like, well, fuck that.
Mike was winning to the last week.
And that was
twice.
And I was rooting. Maybe it was even you, but like whoever it was, I was talking to in the comments. I was shit talking whoever was not Mike, and I was having a blast with this shit.
I remember.
This was one of my favorite moments of Facebook. It was so innocuous, and then I got banned from shit talking, and it was like. I was really looking forward to these updates, dude. Like, you don't understand this fucking Facebook shit, this fucking wrestling. I would get excited, like a dopamine rush. Oh, like a good YouTube video just dropped or something.
Well, yo, shout out to JLB, man. You got a supporter right there. He's talking from the heart right now.
Bro, and then he said...
He really likes what you're doing, so, yo, keep that up. Keep that up.
I liked it until
but keep them points correct.
No, but
you know why I'm saying that.
No, I'm
you know what we've been talking about.
The passion dips in the current mode because I'm not allowed anymore. So it's not fun if I'm not allowed to interact.
No, get out.
I mean,
you're not behaving. You can't play with the big boys.
I mean, I didn't even know I was misbehaving, but I thought it was later. It was more fun. I made connections and friends. The universe expanded. Anyway, that's just, I don't even know. Shout out JLB. He does your voice work, and it was wonderful. And he does voice work is now what I learned. And he does a little design shit, and you can follow.
I put you on, JLB. Radio. There you go. You do this. Add that to the resume.
You should. It was really well done.
Yeah, it was well done. It really was.
But yo, basically, if I understand correctly, you just created an organic sensation.
Man, I appreciate that.
No, I mean it because like
that.
From an organic marketing perspective, you followed all the rules that I believe in for organic marketing. The basic formula is consistency over time equals trust. I mean, it's like simple, but it's boring because time means years and years and years.
Yeah.
But like you started off with like gaining the skills as a youth, real young one. So first, what's pop, musicals, timing, Backstreet Boys, fucking wrestling, filming and shit. All of this is like skill set that comes in. Now this all counts. It may not feel like it counts, but it 100% counts. How is fucking video editing at 15 something you're gonna fucking forget? You don't. You just remember that shit.
Yeah.
So age up, you learn a lot about life.
Yeah, man.
Fantastic environment.
Taking it from the beginning, I think it started with I always wanted to be seen for my talent. Even if I wasn't the most talented, I wanted to be seen and recognized for that talent. And I think that's my work ethic, period. Like when I make videos, if there's somebody else making videos of the same thing, like I want to do better than you. It's like people could say, oh, well, why even compare? You should just like, no. Because like I want to be the best. Like I need to be the best. Period.
I feel you.
Period. And if I'm not the best, I'm gonna outwork you and be the best.
That's it. Like the best is a relative term, right? Like
Definitely.
What does the best even mean? It's not just one thing. So
Definitely.
I like to say from like a perspective of interesting, man, you've managed to capture people's attentions for more than a decade. Is it a lot of people? I don't know, but you got like celebrities to endorse it. This brand has been around apparently for like what 8-9 years. Simple. That's just hard history.
Just got resurrected.
But that's the power of it all. Like what I mean is, back in the day, you did a lot of the groundwork with your documenting and creating this thing. This basically gave you the years to understand the culture behind the audience, the mission. Like it's not just a thing. Like NoRegard is like a mission statement, man. In the last interview, you gave a whole lot of shit. And since I've talked a few times, like it's a whole thing. This had to have taken time to properly go from yo, it's NoRegard, guys, to like what does it mean to a point where you're filling up like a fucking room and selling tickets.
You know what's crazy? When I first decided to relaunch NoRegard, I had this thing because it was so hot in 2012. It was hot. We were on top of our game. It was hot. Close to a Nike deal. Close. Didn't happen. It was hot. But then once it lost steam, my whole thing was like, can I resurrect it to the point where it's better than it was the first time? And maybe that's wrong to think because you want your sequel to be better than the first one, but that's very hard to do because the first one captured the attention and that's what put it on, right? So this time around, it's like with the clothing, it's like more people have bought clothes this time around. There's a Shopify it's more professional this time around, but that wave of NoRegard was 2012 hot. So I'm like, it's not there. And then the documentary, it's like, okay, this is good. People are talking about it. And it was when I saw it on Global News and I saw the hashtag NoRegard written on the screen, I was like, okay, there's an element to this that is, I don't know if I'll say it's hotter than 2012, but this is now different because there are people that are watching this in their homes that aren't associated to us, aren't associated to football. They're just watching Global and the name's there. That wasn't caught in 2012. So then I'm like, okay, that's when I finally kind of realized, yeah, it's getting there. I'm doing better.
Okay, so usually when like sounds or groups or movements are in their inception stages, there's a magic to it and a charm that's raw and rugged and diss tracks and all the stuff that's in the trailer that makes me want to know about it, but we should probably wait to go watch it until it's out and shit. But gosh darn it, do I want the juice, you know what I'm saying? But it's hype. So all of that has an energy to it, but it's probably a little more untethered, and it's that rawness. But then that same shit can grow like a little flower into like something that's more like a jungle or something.
Yeah, it took me time to realize that. At the beginning, it felt like I wanted that spark, but the other spark was getting lit, but I did not see it until recently where I said, oh, this spark is just different.
But it's also just starting. See, that's the thing. It's like, this is like the kickstart of X. And X is big. Yeah. Because it has, if you go on your Spotify right now, it's just NoRegard. If you go on the fucking thing, the NoRegard documentary, it's a clothing line. That's already a multidisciplinary fucking thing. A conglomerate of artistic and creative endeavors meshed together into a singular hashtag that anybody can steal and apply to their life.
Drop that microphone. Drop that mic. Whew, well said.
But it's not even like, I started saying that shit.
Said. You didn't even stutter.
No, but like I started thinking a lot about NoRegard. Like we were hanging out, we made a track, and he's like, NoRegard. You just have NoRegard. He just like fucking throws it out. But if you start thinking about the language of NoRegard, what is regard? Like consideration, how people feel about it. Like basically, it's a hashtag that is saying, don't give a fuck what people think. And I'm like, hold on, that's my whole life right now. I stopped worrying about what people think a minute ago because people aren't necessarily like always getting the wave I'm on. Yeah, but then people tell me I'm entertaining, so something's right.
Sounds like you need a NoRegard hoodie.
Oh yeah, somebody just took $80 out of fucking my bank in terms of fucking tickets. We're gonna hope to win some fucking hoodies. Is the actual thing.
Yeah, that's good. That's worth $100. I was generous. So I gave it for $40. Shout out to you getting 2 for you and your lady friend Bonnie.
Yeah, no,
that's dope too.
Because that's what you're not gonna just go by myself.
That's yeah. No, but for me, it's like like I'm obviously closer to you than I am with her. We have a great relationship, but it's humbling still when it's like she cares to come to that means a lot. So I have to say thank you.
Even like other people care.
That's dope.
And then even through Stephanie's bakery, people care. I'm gonna tell you, she definitely adds a lot to your value. Stephanie's I've been on this stream a bunch of times. She used to play Among Us with us, but then what happened was life happened, and we were inconsistent for a minute. And it was life. Brady's sick. And other shit was part of the life. So it's like, what are you gonna do? Brady's sick. Brady's more important than Among Us, and I respect that shit. But she showed love for reals. And that made everybody over here want to care more just because of Stephanie. Sure. And then she makes the bakery shits, which makes my girlfriend be like, When are we getting those cupcakes?
When are we getting those cupcakes? Remember, it almost came up last time because I came here and I asked Bonnie if she wanted anything.
Yeah, no.
And she's like what? Like, she was kind of curious. And in my mind, I was like, anything from the dep. And she's like, okay, no, I'm good. Then when I came, she was like, I was kind of hoping maybe it was like cupcakes.
Yeah, no,
I was like, I kind of realized it when I was walking. I was like, wait a minute. She asked because she might have wanted cupcakes.
Yeah, she always wants it. And
I'm going to fix you up, Bonnie. You got some cupcakes coming.
And then I asked Stephanie how much they were, and I'm like, I got to get paid again is my answer to everybody. Yo, you got to ask in advance, bro. I got to know how much I got to budget a cupcake into the budget. Like, I know it sounds fucking corny, but like if I'm going to get cupcakes, I need to know that it was like $35 cupcake dollars for a dozen. Like, I needed that information. How much is a cupcake? What's the value of like a cupcake at this tier? Yeah. This is not common knowledge. I'm not the guy that knows.
You can get if they're basic buttercream, vanilla. You don't want like boobies or anything extra designed on them. They'd be for $15.
Sure. I don't know anything about 30. That. I'm just saying that, like, for me, it's like, bro, I couldn't tell you even other people's prices on cupcakes. My whole cupcake buying experience is none. People either make them or it's fucking bake sales. It's all bake sales. Yeah.
But this is, been in this game.
Nobody wants basic. And she said it in a way to even catch her attention with the highlight. She wants.
What happened?
Nobody wants basic cupcakes. That's what she's saying. She wants the better cupcakes than the basic ones.
So you want designs on your cupcakes?
I don't want designs on the damn cupcakes. That's what I mean, basic,
right? You have your
Nobody wants fucking designs. You're just gonna eat the shit.
What are they saying? It's all going in the same place.
It's not for fucking kids. It's not for fucking show. It's just because you want to eat Stephanie's fucking cupcakes. Okay, that's the facts of the situation. But no, back to the organic thing. So like I had to do a presentation about organic marketing, which meant for the first time in my fucking life I had to fill an hour with all of my bullshit, and I had to have a point. That took a while. But the point ultimately was how to tap into community building and organic. And the thing about the NoRegard thing is you basically just spark the community. How you choose to maintain that community and grow it, that's all on you. But it's more than just like that's why it'll work as a merch line. Because you can spark a whole mindset around it. A whole thing of not giving a fuck what people think in an era where it's cool to not give a fuck about what people think.
That's what NoRegard means. Be relentless and have no regard for the limitations that other people place on you. Just keep pushing and do you.
But the fact that you could like answer that, and then that branches into decisions and choices about what it looks like, about what it feels like to rock it, about like the types of, let's see, went into events, what's a NoRegard event? Everything about that's going to have like a certain branding element to it.
There already is.
And it's going to be thought out. You know how you know it's going to be thought out? His whole press run is y'all saw how he laid it out. And if you haven't seen how he laid it out, follow Lance Daniels. What am I supposed to say? Like, that's where you get the scoop.
Yeah, man. I didn't pay for any marketing. Look at the promo tour. Wasn't the greatest for a local guy. Not too bad.
No, but I think that's
the
thing.
Not too bad, right? Not
so,
too
like,
bad.
Paid marketing has a place, and it's when you're selling something directly. So maybe if you had scale involved and it wasn't like capped out, like there may have been value in pushing ads for your Eventbrite.
Yeah. Of course, 100%. But it was like, more like, oh.
But for everything else, like, bro, organic is the shit. It's just, it takes forever. You've been posting about making this shit for almost a year. Mm-hmm. It's not like it's quick. This is the culmination of what the fuck is he doing.
You know what the challenge was? I think that I announced that I was making this documentary too early because I was kind of hype about it, right? So I'm just, how I'm seeing it. And I think because I had started talking about it so early, like my likes were super up, my engagement was super up. And then towards the middle, they just got stagnant. Sometimes I would post and be like minimum interaction, which is fine because I know people are still seeing stuff 100%, right? But then it came to a point where I joked with myself and I said, okay, when this launches, you have to separate this timeline now from the last. And I never could have imagined that, like, now it looks like the documentary's been dropping and then it's just been full steam to the point where now it's like people are super engaged. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I feel like what you might not know is that the post you made in the past and the ones in the middle played into the ARO that you pulled on these moves today.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
It's
I
just
agree.
that when people,
I agree.
like, I know for a fact that, like, I would be less invested in this shit at all if I hadn't seen your early posts.
Yeah.
Like, why would I care today? And I'm not lying. Like, why would I care today?
Oh, no, I don't think people lost. I think it's more like, okay, stop posting. I want to see it already.
I don't
okay. I just want to see it. It was never like they didn't, but it was more like I could see that. It was like,
I think people engage,
show me the movie.
I think
It's
people
been a year.
like engage with shit that they feel like they give a shit about, like either the updates on, or they care about. So it's more like on your 7th post about it. I don't know that I feel like the need to comment anymore.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it.
But it doesn't mean I don't.
That doesn't mean you exactly.
It doesn't mean I don't want to see the 8th post. Like, you know how many people come up to me and tell me about the things they watch, and I'm like, why do y'all never hit like or yo, bro? I used to have people come up to me in real life at the day job, and they would tell me about Facebook posts, threads, interactions. Like, they would tell me details of this person's comment, and they would not have interacted with the post. They just lurked. Somebody once said, yo, I just spent the last 20 minutes.
Isn't that most people?
But that tells you something about engagement. It's not actually a measure of success.
Of course.
It is a measure of something over time. So, yes, if your engagement goes up, you can assume you're doing a better job at something over time.
At that period. But
that doesn't mean even that your ones that get low engagement are misses. It's just that you don't even get high engagement ones if there is no low engagement ones. It's kind of more like happy and sad that don't exist. Like, so people 100%. Like, and plus, sometimes people also are like, they know you, like they know what's gonna happen if that comment thread starts. Nobody wants to jump on that one. And like sometimes that happens.
Yeah. And that's too. No, not everybody wants to be that student to be like, hey, what's 6 times 6? Nathan. Like, he might know the answer's 36, but doesn't mean he wants to say it in front of the class. You know what I mean?
But it also may just be something else was hot that day.
Yeah,
but you're still there. You're still getting registered in it. You know, it's like, I just started posting reels every day because I found out there's money in that, and I'm like, I want to know how much. And
reels are the shit. But Steph put me on that. Reels are the shit.
But make reels with your own music, and if you put #explore page, it seems like for me every 4 days it gives me thousands of views, like a couple. And then I don't know what that translates into, but even if it's like $1, that's just like $1 for free on music.
Fun. Let me ask you a question. Something I've noticed in my engagement. My Instagram engagement. No, the people that view my stories on Instagram have been like at an all-time low. But my stories on Facebook, because they're synced, are an all-time high. For the longest time, Facebook stories would never get as many views as Instagram. Never. And now I've noticed it's kind of gone the other way, and I'm like, interesting stat. And a lot of people that don't communicate with me on Facebook watch my stories too.
Well, that's the craziest shit.
So like, it's a very interesting.
I see it go back and forth for me. I do think that people on Facebook took a lot longer to get used to stories.
To the stories, 100%.
But they are 100%. Now as used to it.
Yeah. You're right.
I also just think that with that, people who would have just watched it on Instagram are now just watching it on Facebook. I'm less caring. I used to only hit stories on Instagram personally. Now I'm like, whatever. And then sometimes I'll just skip your story on Instagram because I already saw these stories. Boring.
Yeah. I'm seeing some people that are like,
but then there's also
tell
shit
me about
like, shit like questions will do better on one site, maybe faces will do better because reels don't behave the same on the two sites either. So like, it might be like one of them cares about your kids and one of them doesn't care about your kids. Like, it might just be shit like that. One of them wants your face. I do a lot of face shit because apparently Instagram wants your face.
Can I have a request?
Yeah.
Is my lady friend Bonnie tuned in right now?
Yeah, Bonnie. Then now she heard.
Bonnie.
Can
you open a Heineken for me, please?
Can you do that? Can you open the Heineken? You're so wonderful, baby.
Thank you very much. My lady friend Bonnie.
She's definitely.
I'm telling you, there's more value in people calling her my. It feels so much more personable.
She said she's going to open it with her glove.
You now share Bonnie with all the people that she does amazing deeds for. Because all your friends around it is going to be their lady friend Bonnie. And they're going to call her my lady friend Bonnie.
That's okay. But that's just a friend. It's just
my lady friend Bonnie.
Lady friend ain't the same thing.
You got Stefano, but that's my lady friend Bonnie. Holden.
That's
Easy.
fair. That's okay. And everyone else is lady friend Bonnie. Your lady friend is the friend of the streets. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, gangster. We established that before.
Yo, Bonnie's like
gangster.
Bonnie's authentic as fuck though. So like she just blends in wherever the fuck she goes and is unapologetically her, but is knowledgeable enough to hold her own, especially on a topic like hip hop.
Crazy. Thank you. This is the first time ever. Appreciate you.
Fill your water bottle?
Oh, do you hear that service?
Bonnie, you're great. Thank you so much.
Bonnie's way greater than I am.
That's my lady friend Bonnie. Shout out to y'all. Y'all get your own lady friend Bonnie.
That's why she has an emote. And we're trying to get more emotes. That's the new mission, but yeah, that came out of nowhere. Sometimes random people show up and just do random things. And I say that just, this guy DJ Crystal Clear, I don't think he watches my shit. He just showed up and throws money and leaves because I'm not like mean to him, and I think other people are mean to him. But like I don't have it in my soul because whatever he's.
Does he do things meriting of being mean to?
Yes. I don't know how else to put it. He'll like wake up in the morning because I have him on Facebook, and he'll be like, "Fuck all your new rappers. I like the Dirty South of 1997." They're the real ones. And then he's like, but you're like, he does it in a way where it's really like too much, so nobody comments on it.
That's another thing we didn't even tap into. The South raised me. The most influential music I listened to was South music. It was Pimp C, it was Bun B, it was UGK, it was Chameleonaire, it was Paul Wall, it was Kiki, it was Zero, it was all of them. Slim Thug, all of them. That's what got me in music.
Yo, you know what I learned? This is a theory. It's not a real.
Honorable mention to G Unit.
But it's not being mean to okay, because DJ Crystal Clear might walk up on your stream and like actually make fun of you in some way sometimes, and like it gets perceived wrong. But I take him really sincerely. If he's gonna walk up and ask me a question like, "Bro, is it weird that I eat Wendy's at 4 a.m. while I'm high?" I'll be like, "I don't know if it's weird." And then I move on with it, right? Like, I just leave it like that. But he'll, like, walk up and interrupt your shit like that. And I like the guy. This is not hate.
I got nothing against you, Crystal Clear. Come to the doc premiere.
Yo, straight up,
NoRegard, the greatest recreational sports story ever told. It's all love
he's
over
He's
here.
in, like, Alabama or Florida or some shit. So he's not even here. He's down in the South, and he does, like, chopped.
These internet gangsters travel these days. I don't know him like that.
Borders, we should be. Borders not good yet. We got to wait a little bit more still. But Mans did a chopped and like slowed up remix because that's how we say it these days in respect or whatever. Yeah. And he's not DJ Screw, so he did a remix to lose weight.
Rest in peace, DJ Screw.
And the guy is great. He just throws subs and shit. So now we're closer to our sub goal than ever because he just decides but he doesn't like stick around or anything. He just shows up, basically throws money at me like I'm a stripper and dips.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I understand hot tub streamers, bro. I get why they do what they do.
That's crazy.
Like I mean, I'm not really there, but like I've thought long and deep about OnlyFans and shit. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm like, that makes sense.
Yeah, you said that before.
Yo, it's just on my mind.
You said that before.
Would I go through with it? No, I have bigger aspirations. I suppose that would probably get.
It's so funny how you say I have bigger aspirations when talking about creating an OnlyFans.
I don't mean any disrespect for it. I just mean with my life trajectory, I think it would block more doors for my current plans than it would open for Holden. So it's not like
it's amazing to me that you're casually talking about this because I mean you really consider this.
Bro, I've thought about this for years. I've thought about everything you can do. I don't really like the idea of I mean, I don't like the idea of necessarily going to like work every day for the rest of my life. I would like to know that in 10 years I figured out ways to monetize that are so great that it's like
no, for sure. That's why we're still working, right? Off air when we're talking to each other.
What ended up happening is I met somebody that had me come over in a consultant role to talk about foot fetish OnlyFans, and like I had to really think about it practically. Like I could go manage OnlyFans shit. Like
yeah.
But then you're doing that.
Yeah.
And then you have to deal with the stigma of doing that because I've also.
Why are you so worried about stigmas?
Because I have more regard than maybe I should.
Isn't that ironic?
Because of the environment that like I get paid in, and as long as I get paid in that environment, I have to have that regard.
But what if you thrive in that other environment? Like, what if the grass is greener if you really put your efforts into it? If you think that it's a logical type of endeavor, why not hop into it?
I haven't got to the point where it makes the most sense to pursue that endeavor. It's just an endeavor I've considered with a lot of thought because it sounds niftier than it probably is.
Okay.
It just sounds like but like the reality
an idea is an idea until it's put into motion, right? And then it becomes like reality.
Honestly, I'd rather make documentaries. I was like, wait, you can just do that? You can just do that? Right?
I mean,
since I talked to you, I've thought about grants, and I'm like, well, I mean, you could do OnlyFans, but you could also do documentaries, and both of those things sound dope to me. So it's like, I mean, no disrespect to it, but I do think that doing one might hinder the other in the near future.
Yeah, I do think that. I think that what I've been able to display within my documentary, I'd like that to be like a guide for any business that wants to hire me. Like, if it's like ESPN, the NFL, like WWE, like I've showed my diversity as an editor. So if I can do that, I can do any of these things for these bigger businesses. So like I'm saying to WWE right now, if you guys could hire me as your videographer, please check out my documentary, check out the clips. Like I do this. You guys watch this whole interview, right?
Yeah.
I'm a student of your game.
So with that, I think that
help me out, Trips.
That the OnlyFans channel would close opportunities for, like, I don't know, somebody like Complex or them fucking hollering at me as quick for the reasons I want them to like go work for them. I mean, it is what it is. I'm not at the place where I want to be, where I have the autonomy to go full NoRegard. I think that you should migrate your NoRegard strategy relative to the political goals that you have and relative to everything that you do. Also, I have to worry about Bonnie's regard considerations. Because she's more than my regular friend, Lady Bonnie. Her regard and my regard might not be the same. So
you're in charge of your. I'm just talking. You have your reasons. You don't even have to disclose them to me. But I would think that if I'm pushing the envelope, my lady friend Bonnie, and beyond your lady friend Bonnie, your girlfriend is also your supporter and your number one fan. Yeah. So it seems to me like if you had this business idea and it was a good endeavor, wouldn't Bonnie like jump on it like full fledged? I don't know her as well as you do, but I'm almost shocked that you would say, "Well, we'd have to." I would think if it makes sense financially for the two of you guys,
I have to like do the math equation of where I want to be in 10 years and what makes the most sense for that.
Well, I'm just going on topic of what you just said.
Yeah, no,
Bonnie's a writer.
Bonnie's regard is it would better be fucking that good.
Exactly.
Prove it. You have to be able to prove it first.
That's what everything is, right? That's what life is, right there, right?
But I haven't yet figured out. Also, I'm not convinced it lasts. I can't. The gravy train's done. That's what I'm seeing through the pipeline. So it's like, you know, you think about stuff like I thought a lot about crypto and chose not to buy crypto. So like I often fantasize about like career moves. I mean, shouldn't you like consider all the things you can do, especially
100%.
Like, what's the difference between porn and music? Honestly, at an ethereal level, it's just another kind of content, and everything about the grind is the same.
No lies there.
So it's like
no lies there.
I mean, I'm certain I'm enough of a fetish. Like, you're enough of a fetish. Everybody's enough of a fetish to find the lane, find enough subscribers, run it. Like, if you look at porn sites, they seem to be literally doing the same thing I'm doing with podcasts. I was like, damn, their shit's just sex and my shit's this.
Yeah. You know, is put it into motion, all right? You know, it's an idea. You know, it's.
Then you probably have all the same other bullshit. The competition, the blah. I don't know. I don't want to get into that world like in a literal sense, unless like the entire universe lines some shit up to me that is so magical I can't say no to. In the meantime, I like the idea of documentaries and shit better because that has like a lot of cultural value that really lines up with my bigger mission, which is fundamentally make sure that people remember that English hip hop exists in Montreal in 15 years.
Oh, I hear that.
That's like an actual statement that needs to be said now. Like,
you need to be the trailblazer for that, you know? The front runner, if that's what your goal is, right?
I mean, that's what we're doing. That's why we talk to people and get the stories. I'm not the only one, but that's why we get the 5-year-old stories because, nobody's getting the 5-year-old stories like me. You
got me realizing that I started my videography career filming my own wrestling. Then I started filming my own music. Then I started, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't realize that till you asked me that 5-year-old question. So,
but it's also
right.
like we all can learn from that. How do we can stack our skill sets and do whatever. So yeah, I might sit there and go, OnlyFans is a viable way to make money. There's a lot of other shit to consider for OnlyFans, but it also...
Can I light that?
Yeah, you can. It also led me to documentaries are a viable way to make money. One of those is a much easier sell for your lady friend Bonnie than the other one. Is something I can absolutely tell you. Much easier sell. Because, well, we proved that people have interest in our video content in a way that I haven't proved that any of sex-related content I've created that doesn't exist at this time. Not that I've created it. I can't prove that that's good. I can prove documentaries are good. I really believe that that's a viable thing. Like, I watched your shit, and I'm like, hold up. What can I bring to the table? What if I make not as good documentaries and then charge it as a service and sell that as a piece of content to a person? I know I can write a wicked script, and I'm certain I can freelance out the rest of that shit.
You might get away with it once, but, you know,
not bad. I want it to be like a thing where motherfuckers know to get that shit. And, yo, nobody else can write and do the voiceover work I do where it gets branded with that behind that suit shit.
That's why anything is, you just have to have your own niche, right? I know what my strong point is in videography, and I stick with it.
I'm voiceover shits. I could tell stories. I mean, I've been able to, like, listen to shit you say, and I'm certain that if I got enough time with a person and we had a specific mission in mind, like, what's the story you want to tell? Well, that's what you did to yourself. So maybe you're not the guy to sell that to for sure because you're able to do it yourself. But you're the inspiration that made me go, other people will never try as hard as you did for that. But I'm so down to write the script and project manage.
I hope you know it comes with a lot of psychological, like, fuck-ups, man. Like, I was seeing the documentary in my sleep, and that sounds like a kind of thing, but I mean, like, no, like, when you, like, have a dilemma of you're like, but how do I make this look like that? Like, you obviously encounter roadblocks, many of them, right? When you can't figure out one and you go to sleep, when you've watched this screen for 8 hours, it's inevitable that, you know, your brain is going to be thinking about it. Your subconscious is still going to be there. And that sounds like a hot, but it's not a fun thing. It's not like every night, you know what I mean? It became like a thing. It became a thing. It's like you had to go crazy in order to stay sane to make that documentary. And then when it's done, to go back to the world, it's like you have to reprogram yourself to not be crazy anymore and go back to the sane. It was a tricky process.
I could hear what you're saying. I'd argue I already dream about my life. Like this shit. I've been dreaming about shit for years.
Ashing this cup here?
Yeah, the cups are for the ashing. I mean, for me, I'm not afraid of that. Like, I'm a hyper obsessed person. If I have a dilemma in my life, I'm gonna dream about that shit. And there's lots of dilemmas when you're trying to put together a whole bunch of things. And
it was literally a moment where I was just like, how do you make a scene look like something? Like, how do you do it? And I couldn't figure it out. And I was sleeping, and it was like there was an ambulance, and I'm like, what if you put the ambulance siren in front of the ambulance at this just specific scene where there's just an empty space? And I was like, that would enhance the effect of what the ambulance scene is doing. And then when I got it and I put it there, it was like, oof, I felt something in my stomach. And I was like, that's what I was looking for that I was missing. Things like that, man, happen like many times in the doc.
But to
like, the subconscious is a crazy thing.
I would much rather have that as my life than not. And if I can monetize that in a way where I can streamline the process with the right team of people, bro, everything's possible then. Everybody just plays the part that they play. Right?
Yeah.
I'm not a video editor. So nobody wants me to edit their videos. But I am absolutely able to write a motherfucking script.
You're holding on to that.
Well, it's like something that I can do in the process that I don't have to outsource. Basically, I don't want to outsource things because everything else is a fee. Yeah. So if you can do so, and I can do voiceover work well, and I do actually want to get paid for this. Yes, as myself as an occupation, I have to have a skilled role in the company. Right? Like, in my opinion, you should have a way to contribute. Otherwise, what? I'm just a decision maker? It's not my shit. I have no way to be hands-on then. I have nothing to attach myself to other than just watching it, you know?
Yeah.
And yeah, I could be on cam and shit, but I don't really think that's what I have in mind. I want to figure out with people what they want to accomplish and then just, write their story down, do the research, fucking dig into them, make whatever, do an interview with them. That's part of it, you know?
Yeah.
Cut footage, boom, 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 and then figure it out. And it doesn't even have to be like crazy, huge productions. It could be 18 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
It could be whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You just figure out what you want to say. Because a documentary, as I understand by definition, is just a movie that says something about something.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's a weak definition linguistically, but that's actually what it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's a movie that proves a point or tells a story.
Definitely.
And in yours, it's what's the point in no regard? You prove the point.
Every superhero has an origin story.
Fact.
This is ours.
The point in no regard. That's the point. And the point you're making is what it is.
Oh, and by the way, I gotta cut this clip and use this. Holden robbed me on that lose weight
It was
challenge, and I'd like to make a fun competition. Who won?
It was Eulogy.
Eulogy. All right, Eulogy. Let's drop a 16 or a 16 or a 32. Let's do a little something competitively and see who comes out better. Maybe Holden could put it up as a little contest on his page of just undilutedly who has the best verse. It doesn't got to be lyrically the best verse. It could be the beat. It just all around package that's you delivering something, I'm delivering something. Shout out to you for winning, but I know this guy robbed me. We got to cut this clip and we can post it. Let's make something fun out of this Eulogy.
Eulogy.
Don't make this my eulogy.
Eulogy, this was unscripted on my end. I had no idea this was coming. This just popped up. All right, we'll get it. Yo, straight up, Bonnie.
And then when I win, I want my money from that last contest I lost.
That's not gonna happen.
But yeah, man, let's do something fun for the culture, Eulogy. Let's make it happen.
And just to add to it, Bonnie has now written battle bars at Eulogy in the past already. And
Ooh,
it's real.
So I can get Bonnie on some ad-libs on the hook?
You could probably get Bonnie in that. It could be like, just saying it could happen. Bonnie's, willing to do it. Eulogy's going to be like, what the fuck? But respect Eulogy. I can't wait to see your participation in this shit.
Yeah, man, let's make it happen. Quality doesn't even matter. Let's just go. Who has a hotter verse? Good old hip hop. And you make a little something out of it.
Here's what's up. I'm going to have zero part of the judging so that I don't have to listen to any part of being asked why.
I don't want you there anyway. There we go.
I want to spectate this and host this motherfucker.
Yo, Eulogy, let's do it. Could we get some judges? Maybe we get like a panel.
No, we'll get a panel.
Like we can make this a little
Your
something,
lady friend
so
Bonnie
it's not
can even
just
be a
one
judge.
person. Like have like 3-4 judges.
Eulogy can bring like 2 judges. You bring like 2 judges, and I'll find.
Nah, we don't bring the judges. Neutral judges.
Fine. I'll go find people that are unrelated
to us. Exactly. No bias. Bang bang diggity.
Like Willie Scandals don't give a fuck. He'll be unapologetic 100%. Bro, we could just get skin deep up
behind the suit podcast.
See, I was like get skin deep in there.
Skin deep?
No, I don't know if he'd be a judge. I wonder if he would be.
Oh, he ain't gonna pick me. He biased. How you mean? You don't like Jay Star.
Yo, Ismail wants to judge. I'll let Ismail judge. Ismail will be the behind that suit judge.
As long as it's not you.
It won't be me. No, I'm out of that one. I already have to do this judging shit, and then on the real, like, if you don't pick the right person in the eyes of people, they'll be like, how'd you have been?
No, when you don't pick the obvious winner, it could be
bro. And then you're sitting there and you're like, whatever. I'm not even talking about you. They had like 300 person comment fight the other day over some shit. I didn't even read it. I was like, I'm gonna make.
But that's
music.
good. That's what makes it fun. Giving reason people to defend. Like, you know what I mean? It's not personal. It's not that serious. But it's engaging. It's fun. People have a reason to be like, yo, what do I like? Ooh, they said that. Like that's what hip hop is. That's what we came up on. That's the music that we love, that we can't live without.
Yeah. And I just stayed out of it and let them do their thing. Because do I really need to be? No, because everyone's going to be like, well, Holden, what do you think? And unfortunately for me, if I think a thing, people are going to then point to that thing and be like, well, Holden said this in the future about any fight or anything. And I'm like,
I don't care what people say.
Do what you got to do, guys.
All
I said is nobody complained to me. Nobody hit me up in the comments. But, bro, the next month, all the fucking songs, they start beefing with each other, making disses. I'm like, yo, this is hot. This is like
Yo,
fucking
I just
amazing.
put you on something. Me and you, someone else is gonna do this after us. If we do this the right way, there's gonna be another two that are gonna do
it's
it.
just a pop-up contest.
You know what
we
I
do
mean?
a pop-up battle or some pop-up battle contest thing, whatever. I don't know how to properly frame it. That's just details later on. But if Eulogy agrees, boom, 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 somebody does something, who knows? Somebody will show up and be like, I got a dank or something that I can send the winner. It's not like guaranteed, but it's the type of shit I hear get floating around.
Yeah. You gotta do that for me. If you can, just cut that little part there of this video and send it to him and tag me. Let's do it right.
Chris is editing this shit. I'm not editing this. Chris is editing. He hears you. Why? Because he's gonna get this footage and he has to watch the whole thing.
There you go.
Shut up, Chris. Leave this in so that they know to hit you up for them editings.
Yeah. Nice. We're gonna do that, man. It'll be fun too, and it's good, man. One thing that lose weight challenge was fun for me was that like it was like COVID-ish times, right? It was COVID. It's like, when was the last time I've ever had to rap in competition with anybody? And I'm not in direct competition, but yeah, I'm trying to win money with a whole bunch of other people that are trying to win money. That whole thing was kind of rejuvenating. That was just kind of like win or lose. Like, I joke when I say you picked the wrong winner. Shout out you. I mean, I joke, but you know. But that aspect for me, just being able to be competitive, feels like you got that workout in, and you're just like, all right, I'm feeling my arms a little bit. I'm feeling my legs. Yeah, I got that appetite. That's what it felt like for me. So
yeah, I like that. That's how
I'll take that next challenge, the Eulogy.
I feel like it's fun shit. That's why I like it. I don't know that I have the energy to participate in it as much as like a contestant, because like, yo, people be like,
are you telling me you're a rapper? You got mad at me because I said to you that I saw you as more than a rapper. And
no,
you're
but
like,
I'm saying,
a rapper.
what are you
talking about?
Yo, here's the thing. I'm gonna be real with you. It isn't about like 100% my desire to fully like go be a rapper, like to win contests and shit. It's not like that. It's that they've taken it to a degree where it's like you have to memorize the verse, you have to do a whole bunch of shit. Where it's like, oh man, like realistically, I don't have the time to do it right.
That's the sport.
But I don't have the time with everything else I'm doing to do it right.
Well, you don't got to do it.
That's what I said.
You don't got to do it.
So it's not like about being like, it's not like, yo, if I could do it
right.
Yeah,
but the hip hop, and you got upset with me because you said that at your heart you're a rapper. Yeah. And I'm like, I just feel like you've become such an influencer that I see you as more than just a rapper at this point. And you're like, you know, fundamentally, you're a rapper. Yeah. That's what it is. So if you're a rapper cut from that cloth, there's no way with me saying this whole Eulogy thing, you'd feel like you don't have that competitive spirit. Well, like, why wouldn't you want to be like...
Because I chose to compete different.
All right, I
said to myself, because I said
because
I set a different challenge to myself. I said, I'm gonna release more music than everybody this year. That's how I'm gonna compete with the city.
But the different challenges, someone's challenging, yo, write a better verse than me.
Nobody hit me up like that. Nobody.
But you already said you wouldn't want to do it anyway, so no one will hit you up.
I don't want to participate in a lot of these group challenges like that because, like, honestly, the level of effort people put it in. But if somebody said straight up, like, no fucking editing, you can read the fucking verse, because I'm not going to memorize it. I don't have the time. I barely have time to memorize my own fucking music lately. So it's like, if that's a condition, I'm going to lose. Like, a facts of a situation. Right, well. And I don't know that I have, like, the time to, like, practice it to a point. And then what? I'm never going to use this again?
Well, I'm looking forward to it. I respect my name. I'm doing a lot with my name. And if I get washed, then that's on my name. But that's the sport we love.
I know.
Let's do it.
But I did it. I tried it.
I'm not saying you. I'm
but I tried it, though. I did a bunch of these contests for a minute and then said, I'm going to throw a contest. And then now I'm just on this mixtape shit. So it's like, why would I do contests where it's like, bro, let's just go make a song. That's more where I'm at right now. And
to each their own.
I'm fucking loving this whole grind with it. Like, I'm really into music making.
I hope Eulogy doesn't have the same opinion as you because I want a little competition.
No, Eulogy's going to come for you.
There we go.
I hope. Eulogy, you better come for him. Eulogy, you better do it. That's all I'm saying. I mean, Chris, edit this clip and make it look sexy. No, but like I like the environment. I like spectating battle rap more than I like participating in battle rap. So like I'm a rapper, but I don't know that I'm like that kind of rapper.
Yeah.
Cause like battle rap's lit. I didn't know how much I'd like it until I started watching it, and then I realized I really fucking like it.
Yeah.
But like
I'm blessed too. I just said that too because I want a reason to go in the studio. I'm gonna go in the studio and just write you know what I mean? I'm gonna write it. It's not gonna be a freestyle. I haven't recorded in forever. You know what I mean? Like, give me a reason to be a little competitive at least. So I'm not just doing a verse that's just going out there. That's a fun reason. Let's battle a little bit.
Yeah, I feel that. I'm just not that kind of competitive. I want to outmarket you. I know it's weird, but like I go fucking hard on shit like that, and then like when it comes to the music, I've always just kind of put that in a box, and I'm like, nah, that's art. It like it's weird, but like those battle verses, what I realized is like what. So I wrote these verses for these contests, and I just kind of left them there, and I just kind of like they're just in this group, and nobody hears them anymore, and like nobody ever wants to watch them again, and it just kind of was like this moment in time thing. And my ego is like, bro, I don't know if I want to be there. That's not really what I want to do with it. I'd rather like a degree of permanency to what I do with it. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, for sure, it's that.
So like this one that I saw that
authenticity.
so I did one recent, this battle booth, shut up battle booth. So I did one. I don't care if I win or lose, but they said I could put this on Spotify. So I'm like, well, fuck that. Recorded it, put it on Spotify. Saw, you could do better. Whatever, I don't care about that part, win, lose. But then it felt like worth doing. So if there's ever conditions like you could release it to Spotify attached, fuck that, I'm in. But this is the part where I'm like, yo, what do I get out of it? What do I get out of doing this outside of competition?
Yeah.
But you took this on Eulogy. That's a different game, my guy. It's a very different thing. I appreciate that.
Let's make it a fun thing.
That will be. So after NoRegard drops, you put out the documentary. What are you doing after that? Like, that's been a curiosity for me. What is next for you?
What a lot of people have been asking me in these interviews. I know. I've been going by just do the best you can that particular day, and the more you do that day, the more it's gonna play into tomorrow. Treat every day individually. So it's pretty much the same answer I give, like kind of recycled, but like it's the honest answer. After the documentary, it's like you can't foresee what's gonna happen that night. Like they say, like at a football game, sometimes you never know if there's a scout watching. You never know who's watching. For the amount of people that this documentary has been in front of now at this point, and still for another week, it's like I can't even predict what my next day will look like. What would I like? I would like a Netflix deal. That would be nice. I mean, that's the goal. When you're an independent movie maker, you want a Netflix deal. You know what I mean? Netflix hire people all the time to do things from their home if it's creative enough and put it on their platform. I can't remember the name of the person, but somebody recently got signed like that. So it's like that would be definitely something. And then I mentioned like I'd like to work as a videographer. That's my trade. If it's WWE would be my top choice, NFL, but like I'm a dope videographer. I know how to get emotion out of whatever it is I'm filming. So I don't know what lies ahead, but I know I've put my best foot forward to open the doors to give myself the best chance to win.
That's fair. So with that, you're going to go focus on making more shit. That was the main takeaway. This is the beginning of your film career.
Yeah, definitely. Way more to come. This is my first.
No, that's big, though. The Netflix thing is also dope just because, like, I mean, that's a pretty fucking great goal, actually.
Yeah, that's what we want. I want a Netflix deal. Like, distribute this and have the confidence that people are going to like it. It's a story about a recreational sports football team. If we look at the stats, the majority of people that train like athletes are not super mega stars, not in the NFL. The average person is the person that goes to the gym and tries to make it into the NFL, but then doesn't make it, but they stay fit their whole life. Few people crack that and make it into the big time. So for this story, telling a story about a recreational sports league and flag football, it kind of speaks the language of a lot of people that play in softball leagues and soccer leagues. You know the term soccer mom. Like, this is a representation of all those leagues of people that didn't make it. However, within that, there's a lot to be loved and there's a lot of substance in there. And I think ours in particular is the greatest recreational sports story ever told.
That was amazing. That was well done.
You got that good weed. That's what it is.
And more music is coming?
Definitely. The single for the movie, NoRegard, the greatest recreational sports story ever told. It's called Dog Season. It's the lead single for the doc. It's featuring KD 2 times and myself, JS NoRegard, and it's gonna be on all streaming platforms, Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your music, Tidal, wherever, the day after the documentary. So July 16th, that's the Friday, like right at midnight. So as soon as the documentary is done, right at midnight, bang, it drops on streaming platforms. So when you watch the documentary, everything that you see, the soundtrack in theory should always remind you of that. I said at the beginning of this interview, and it ties in, that music is like the soundtrack to our lives, and it always ties it in. I use a very popular soundtrack, Lose Yourself. Don't tell me you don't see B Rabbit. You know, if I did my job correctly, Montreal version.
That's amazing.
Dog season. Shout out KD 2 times.
Shout out KD 2 times. Yeah, he's a wonderful guy too. I think y'all both is super talented. Well, I'm glad to see that. So, documentaries, soundtracks, music, future, dessert. It's another thing that happens. I'm just saying, Stephanie's Bakery gets attached to that.
No doubt, that's major.
It's big.
Is attached to that. What do you mean?
I'm just saying.
Heck yeah.
I know.
It's a whole package, right? Like, just as you said that you appreciate Steph and everything, like, you're not the first person that tells you that, like, people like the nature of the tool. Like, it's a whole machine. It's not just one. Like, you could see why we work well together, right? Like, there's a lot of elements. So yeah, man, it's Stephanie's Bakery is a big part of it. You know, when people told me, I hope I win those cupcakes, more people have told me that than I hope the documentary is awesome.
I was like saying I'm going to document. I just assumed it was going to be awesome. I assumed it was going to be like what it is. I'm going to experience it, and it's going to be this JS shit. Like, that's what I'm picturing. Not like shit,
Yeah,
but like, I feel like I'm going to get this blast of documentary stuff, and I'm going to be like,
you're going to feel something. I think just like my music, as we touched on, it tells a story. Like, it's hard to put images together and
I'm
pictures.
biased by the trailer. So I'm biased by that. Like, that's
but you see, I'm an intelligent videographer. I'm going to tell you why, right? When I want to see a movie, I hate when I see a trailer and the trailer shows me everything that's going to be in the movie. A lot of people say that, but I have a certain eye. You could show me minimum in the trailer and I could piece together what happens in the movie. I've always been good at it my whole life. Oftentimes they give you a trailer and you can't tell, and I love those trailers. So I specifically made a trailer so that when you watch it, you might think you know where it's going, but it's not exactly.
So it's not about the angle of where it's going, but the tone.
Yeah.
You definitely capture a tone, and you convey that. So that gives me
and I don't tell you a lot
of what's gonna come, except for a tone, and that was enough for me. I'm like, so that's why it
tells you a lot, but it doesn't tell you a lot.
I'm like, I'll probably entertained by that. But then I was like, if I just win the merch, that would make my life simpler.
That would be crazy if you did. But you know how many people are going there hoping that you're going to win, like, cupcakes and merch? Like, you're in competition with a lot of people's karma. You know what I mean? There's a lot of good people in that audience there. You know what I mean?
It's not even about good
deserving.
People. I just want to win the sweater.
Which sweater would you want?
I don't know. Any of them that fit me.
Okay.
If it fits me and it comes as a prize, I'll be like, yeah, that's dope. Now, if I happen to get this sweater that fits Bonnie and it doesn't fit me,
then like, bang, there you go.
That's like less what I want out of the situation. I want the sweater. That's just the fact of it. And then if it just comes my way by the nature of the universe, that's amazing. And I like winning shit. Who the fuck doesn't like winning raffle shit?
So you got me thinking something right there. See, what I'm already thinking is when you win, gotta dim those lights and then do the raffle in the dark and put a spotlight right on you. Like you know in the MLB on the big screen?
Bro,
boom, you won. If it doesn't fit you, it's like, if it's Bonnie. That's just like a fragment of how my brain just goes off cue. Sometimes it just sees shit.
But that's like, perfect. Yeah, I do that with all kinds of shit. It drives her nuts, and that's why I dream about my work.
Yo, man. See how?
It's worth it. It's how you create brilliance, in my opinion.
Brilliance, for better or worse.
Yo, all of this is like footage for a documentary in the future that nobody really knows I'm making. They just didn't know that.
Yeah, and it speaks volumes for the future. Leo, the head referee at Flag Plus Football, shout out to him. He said, it's like battle. And I feel like my documentary is like battle. You lose friends along the way. you lose soldiers along the way. But what's important is you remember the people that helped get you there. So this documentary, there was a lot of sacrifice that came with this documentary. But it's just important that you remember the people that helped get you there. And I think Leo's 100% accurate when he says that. It's battle.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like all the endeavors you do, I often compare what I do with this content in a war. Because you're basically competing for attention with everybody, even your friends. Like, yo, if my boy goes live at the same time as me, as much as it's like it is what it is, but in that moment we're technically competing for attention of the same people.
Yeah. I
mean, I give you all love and shit, but I mean, if we're being like real with it, it's a thing that happens.
Yeah. I feel you.
So you have to. I feel like, yeah, I know there's gonna be people that I talk to today I'm probably not gonna talk to in a year or two.
Yeah. And it's dope too, man. At the theater, there's going to be a lot of people from a lot of different walks of life that know me.
Bro,
from people I work with, to friends, to acquaintances.
It's like a real life thing.
It's a lot of people. And the crazy thing is there's not a lot of ticket sales from people that don't know me. I think there's one. I think there's one ticket sale from someone that doesn't know me. And ticket sales are going very good. So it literally is a room of like people that know me in some different. It's like usually when you see this type of stuff, it's like at a funeral. Sad to say, but like I know on that day I need to just kind of soak it in and remember that every minute you speak to somebody, it means a lot to them because they paid to come see you. It's hard to distribute time when there's so many people, but like everybody deserves to have a little part of me because I'm gonna leave there with a little part of everybody in me.
That's fair. And then if they get your merch, they get to walk out with a piece of you too in a different way. Nah, but that's really cool.
Yeah.
Like just the idea of that.
Take you home and sleep with you.
But like the idea of being able to create an environment that you get to receive your own flowers while you're alive is also an interesting notion because you created that environment. Nobody else created it for you. You did it. Maybe Stephanie did a lot, but like, yeah, she did. I'm not saying maybe, but like,
100%.
But you still did it,
100%.
right? You still drove your ship there. You still put in that work, and in a lot of ways, we just deny ourselves the opportunity for that greatness, which I tie back to that self-esteem shit, where it's like, yo, $40 is a weird price because everybody thinks everything's worthless, but it shouldn't be a weird price. It should be considered like, why is it that low for a private event for the first time filmmaker? Bro, like think about that later on when you're winning some fucking award in a thing, because then it's gonna be like, yo, I'm gonna be there at that moment. Yeah,
and that's why it's important that it ties into like everybody that came as a part of it. I'm very much someone that believes in where I came from and represents where I came from. So when all these people buy tickets to my show, it's not like, oh, thank you for coming, and then that's it. Like, it's a cash grab. Like, no, like, there's now a responsibility that I take on myself where when these people have something going on, it's my responsibility to be there. If they order a cake, it's, like, our responsibility to make sure they get maybe a little perk or something. Or, you know, if their car died and they need to get a boost, and it's like, oh, my gosh, I have nobody to call. Like, I encourage anybody that has come to the show, you know, ask me. And, you know, I'm always somebody that pays it forward. And I think that everybody in the crowd and the audience are very similar, which is crazy. Like, I kind of think that everybody in the audience would get along with each other because I know them all in a certain kind of way. And I know the people that I keep around me, they're generally very social people and, like, very easy to get along with. If you look at my friend circle between you, Mike, JLB, Kendall's quiet but very sociable. Demi, like we're all Steph, like, you know, all these people are like very like social people you can kind of tell in atmospheres, and I think that's largely the people I keep around me, so it'll be a very good audience. Yeah, and shout out to Guillaume and Mendy, wheelchair accessible. Thank you, Scotia Bank. I have two friends that have conditions which I'd rather not discuss, one of which is MS. But the other one's not important to discuss, but they're very important people to me that are going to be there. So looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward to it, too. I don't know anybody that's made a documentary and ran it at a Scotiabank.
Say that again?
I don't know anybody that's made a documentary and ran it at a Scotiabank. I think a documentary is cooler than a short film, personally. That's just my preferences on branding. Just throwing it out there. Because, I click on the documentary section way more than I click on the short film section.
Yeah.
And I watch documentaries to learn shit. I didn't know recreational sports was really as cool as you made it sound until you made it sound cool. That's blessed. It happens to be a short film. It's cool too. But the fact that it's like actually a thing that you created, and then we can just go there and it's a whole event. And it's like, that might be the first real event I go to post-COVID.
Yeah. And that was a large thing in my mind too, was I knew that this would be a big thing because a lot of people haven't been out, right? So it's, your documentary is the center point, but there's a lot of factors that are just going to fix themselves. Like people standing in a line waiting to walk in, people sitting down just waiting at the theater, who's coming in, oh, that person's good looking, or oh, I know that person from this. Like that atmosphere, because we haven't done it for so long, is like, I don't even have to do anything. Like, I'm the host, but it's kind of geared, it's the right time. It's the right time. It was super on my side with all this.
Definitely helped a lot. And then, I think it'll be cool. And then I like watching those like YouTube videos of people who do like the before and after. Yeah. So like they just create, like, I'm sure you're gonna film whatever you do when you're there.
Yeah.
But like you watch the whole event and you watch like an 8-minute video and then you see the guy, thank you all for coming out here. I'm looking forward to that so much when you start crying and shit in front of everybody. Everybody busted tears. Like it's impossible not to. After it's done and it's like the credits start rolling and then that moment, bro, I always wanted to be there. One of those are the moments when the guy comes out and he's all bashful and shit.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine, like they say, the big screen when you're from Montreal, trying to make it, like if there was a big screen you were to make it to, like I think this is my first stamp of like local, small time, but as like big of a platform as you could possibly get in your particular lane. What's the other spot in Brossard? There's a theater in Brossard that's like
Calise?
Yeah, there's one that's like
Not
maybe
the
equivalent to the Scotia, but the Scotiabank Cinema, that's
Scotiabank.
everyone knows that. But Paramount.
Paramount,
But
like even if it wasn't necessarily Scotia and you'd said AMC, that would have been. It's the fact that it's like a legitimate fucking movie theater where
Scotia, Paramount, because I was there as a kid. It just.
I understand what you're saying.
It's just that, it's like, AMC wouldn't have felt the same way for me.
Which I can appreciate what you're saying. But I'm saying the fact that you're doing it in a movie chain that 100%. Shows like Transformers and shit.
100%.
And then in theory it's going to have you in around this. I mean, however, it's just like.
It's a crazy thing? I'm actually featured in the documentary less than so many other people. I only actually talk in the documentary in an interview once in the whole thing, because I never needed to explain myself because everybody did it for me. And I had a whole interview of myself where I talked for like a full hour. I used one like 4-second clip. That's it. Because I'm just like, why do you need to prove that? Why do you, like, after I got all the footage and I had to comb through it, it was like, this is more powerful if you don't say anything. Just let them do the whole thing. And now Kendall's the star. Alex Tequila, FPF, he's the star. Theo's the star. Whoever you are that's in the doc, if you're watching it from your point of view and your friends are watching it, it'll look like it's almost yours. Because I'm in there like the least. But for like Kendall, if Kendall brings 4 friends and they're watching it, one of Kendall's friends Instagram posted him. He's like, I can't wait to come to your premiere. And then Kendall responded back. He's like, it's not my premiere, but thanks. And then in speaking to him, I joked and I said, but it kind of is. Because when he's watching that, you're in the documentary so much that from his point of view, he's seeing his friend. So I kind of edit it that way. So other people can get that experience. But by the end, it's like, you know, I don't want to use the word puppet master, but like, yes, I created it, but it is kind of not even centered around me per se.
You're like the guy behind the scenes who does the speech.
Yeah.
Yeah. You made it happen.
You can call it that. You can call it that.
You're like,
you know, there's a lot of reward in putting other people up. That's what Drake is very good at. He never puts the spotlight on himself. He always shines it on someone else. You know, he does a video with Chris Brown and he'll do a dance competition within the video, but he knows Chris Brown is a way better dancer. So everyone laughs at Drake like, oh, you did, and then Chris Brown kills it. And that's Drake's way of making whoever he works with look better than him, because it's fun to laugh at Drake, and he's made like a career out of it kind of thing. So it's like a similar element to that, where it's like you guys' documentary. One of the most meaningful things I got, and I said this today, most meaningful about that Global News interview had nothing to do with me. It was one of my friends, Travis Moses. He was sleeping, and he woke up and he said, I just woke up to a screenshot from my mom of me on the news. And I was like, that's so dope, because you didn't get a screenshot from your mom of the fact that I'm on the news, because my name was all over it. But they were watching the clips because they show my trailer, and she identified her son and she screenshotted it like, oh my gosh, my son's on TV. And that had me feeling like, huh, you know how many people were on Global News within that trailer? There's about 20 people that made Global News. Never even thought about it from that point of view.
Yeah, that's a big part of why I changed my focus, actually, is because, putting other people on, I took on Montreal, English Montreal.
You're big on that, man.
Bro,
I gotta look in the camera, man. Holden does it for our city, man. And he does it without feeling like he has to do it in a cocky way, like 100%, man.
Man, because there's just so much here, but it's also like, it is a really good career move. Everybody likes to talk about the fact that, like, nobody does this or nobody does that, but the one thing that you can always do in those moments is become the person that does this or does that. So that you can't just say nobody anymore, in my opinion. You have to say most people or something. So now the language is shifted. So if some people do it, then it creates more of an effect. And I'm like, listen, man, I don't know, like, I love everybody's music. I'm a lot more willing to, like, share the media, like the podcast right now, because I feel like, to me, there's a big need of focusing on how many other platforms exist. Like, shout out Glock Party Podcast with DMS and them, the fact that they're entering the sphere and doing their thing. Fucking go give them love. Or shout out fucking Steve Adamopoulos and fucking Tech Luciano and Talia for their fucking Hustle podcast, and then a killing them with the Geek Test.
Shout out to Tech. I was hoping part of my confession hour, part of my my promo tour, I was low key hoping that he would reach out to me to be on it, but I never asked him. And I know if I asked him, he'd 100% have me on, because that's my guy. You know you're my guy. But I was just like, is he? But I was kind of hoping, like, it would have meant validation to me if he came and asked me. But that just is a reference to how much I respect him.
Yeah.
That's my guy.
He came through and it was real good. I talked to him now. I decided I'm gonna leave comments on the channel, and then I'm gonna give Tech Luciano my personal comments to him, because fuck that. Every time I watch the Hustle podcast, I want to yell at the fucking.
I watched a couple episodes recently. What I really like about it, it's cool because nowadays we watch podcasts, right? But it's like, if you watch, I don't know, Deion Sanders' podcast, Brandon Marshall and them, $1 Million Worth of Game, Gilly the King and Wallow. It's like so many people that create podcasts, they were like celebrities that we knew, but we followed them because they transitioned into the podcast game. So I followed Tech Luciano's career as a hip-hop artist in Montreal. So to see like my own doing a podcast, it kind of reminds me of why I watch $1 Million Worth of Game, Gilly the King. Like, it reminds me why, because he's my Montreal version of it. Because that guy, when he was in the hip-hop, he was a beast and nobody to play with. That guy was nice. Still is nice. Yeah, not crazy about the singing. It's different, but I need that Tech Luch. I need that Shat-Town Tech Luch.
I mean, I fucks with both. I like what he's doing now. I'm not gonna lie. I fucks with the sound. But I got into a lot of different kinds of new music. So for me, yo, if you come with that old school shit, I'm gonna probably like it.
Yeah.
If you come with that new school shit, I'm gonna probably like I am literally the worst reviewer. Like I don't know why anyone. I'm just gonna be like, yo, I like it. That's a shit review if I like everything.
Yeah.
Go watch my reviews. It's just me saying how much I like things.
Yeah. I'm gonna put you on hold 2 seconds though. I gotta run out to that bathroom. That was some intense.
You're a young person, Bunny. Yeah, Bunny's not younger than me. That's the one thing I can say. That's a factual statement. I'm not saying anybody's old or young. I'm saying I am younger in physical age. That's what's important to me that the world knows.
Talk to him.
Yeah. Bonnie doesn't like that fact. But I enjoy that fact. I didn't change. It's not my fault. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just there are people act real weird about getting old, and I don't understand it. I think getting old is the best thing that's happened to me, except for all the weird aches and pains and shit.
Yeah, getting old is dope. It allows you to share stories, kind of like what we're doing today.
Yeah.
You know, you can't share these stories if you died young.
It's also like
you know what I mean? Like,
you care more and you care differently, and like, yo, I appreciate flowers and shit in a way that I didn't when I was young. You know?
Yeah.
Yo, my 30s is the best time of my life so far. I don't know if I'm gonna like my 60s.
Big up, yeah, for sure.
I don't know about that. 60s could be shit, but like 30s, 40s, 50s, that all sounds like great.
I've told many of my friends that the day that I go, I don't want too much crying at my funeral, and please, I don't really care if it's in a church environment. There are certain songs that need to be played, and Young, Wild, and Free is one of them. Snoop Dogg and Wiz Khalifa. It was just a time of my life when it came out. It was just like, it was a NoRegard era, actually, where it was just like, yo, so what? We go out. So what? We smoke weed. We're just having fun. We don't care who sees. You know what I mean? It really, that's how it's supposed to be. Living. And it was like, we're getting older. But like when we played that song, we were partying, like mixed with the 19-year-olds. You swear we're 19, 20. And it just always marks that chapter, you know? So at my funeral, Young, Wild, and Free. And I know when it drops, everybody will think of me and just, yeah. This is what he wanted. Like, party up. It's okay.
I like that. You know? I think a lot of people have boring funerals. No offense to the boring funeral people. That's just my perspective. You don't have to.
To me, it'll be a celebration. It has to be. A celebration of life. That's what it should be.
That's dope. I appreciate that. So yeah, I definitely think we covered a whole bunch of shit. I don't want to like force 3 hours for no good reason either. It's been a fucking proper interview. This feels like a great time to like, wrap it up. Yo, thanks for coming through. Thanks for doing your
thanks
thing.
for having me, man.
I mean,
it's appreciated. You always open the door to me, man. So I thank you for that.
Well, I mean, you're not boring.
And this is a lot funner than Zoom. Like sitting down and talking to somebody.
It's so
like,
different.
Way better.
I don't know. I mean, yes.
I mean, for me.
In a sense, yes, because I'm comfortable and we've hung out before and I'm familiar with you. But on the real, I don't know that I personally agree across the board that it would be funner for me to like meet a slew of strangers in person all the time like that.
But you just sold yourself out by even saying that, because what Holden is saying in translation now is that he fucks with me. So if you don't get the invite to his place, that means he's just not too sure. He's like, stop talking.
No. I'll be real. Like the guy's like the neighbor, and like, yo, it's to the point where we was already talking about hanging out. So yeah, if, like we're not at a point where like I'm not like inviting you into my house. I'm sorry if it feels like that, but it's where I live and shit, and I feel comfortable in certain things.
See, all you rappers, you got to get close to the plug.
But it's also like
eat your nuggets comfortable in his house.
There's a second part to it. You live so close to me that you're not going to be sitting there tripping on time. Because, yo, my man lives in Laval, as an example. So for him, he has to watch the clock now because there's another 45 minutes before he's home after. And that shit plays in a lot. So, like, I don't know. I have to really, like,
I walked here in about 7 minutes.
That's what I'm saying. So for you, it's like whatever when it's done. So it's not really just fully like whatever. I can get over myself. A bunch of people came through here. So it's not necessarily funner or not for me. Sometimes it's funner on Zoom, bro. Zoom can have like a vibe to it. Yo, shout out We Speak English Good who's coming through. Then the other part is We Speak English Goods in Ohio. or I think you're in Ohio. I might be wrong. Whatever's. And like, how am I supposed to even do that one? And so it's like, yeah, there's a vibe in person, but there's also a vibe not in person.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
totally
no doubt.
fine. But it's
No
also like, yo, the second it puts that pressure of time where people are gonna act away and act weird about like having to leave and shit, that was the biggest thing I noticed.
You've also been holding a microphone for a long time.
Yo, I'm not into this that much. I'm not
Like,
gonna lie.
you know what I mean?
No, but I would have a better setup for it. Like I would not like legit just run it like that. I would, yeah, this is whatever. This is fine though.
I more meant like shout out to you because this been like almost 3 hours, like you said. You've been holding that microphone throughout the whole time, you know what I mean? Just for the sake of being in person because I requested it, right?
Yeah.
So shout out, I'm shouting you out. That's
fair enough.
That's kind of
so
dedication.
the part where I'll actually do it in person with you, okay, maybe like if I feel fucking special and you're gonna like whatever, fine. But it's like really just a circumstance thing where the dude does live that close and a bunch of shit. But also like I started thinking about it.
Be good with your plug.
I don't know everybody. And maybe it's not the smartest choice to like do it. Then I started doing it on Zoom. And, yo, it's a vibe. It's not shit. Like I know it sounds shit, but it's not shit. Everybody admits it. Like in the same way that you're like 3-hour interview, it's the same reaction over Zoom. Because you're at home. And now
for sure.
At home with a baby and at home with no baby are not the same thing. Just remember that. So when you have babies and shit, there's noise, there's other things, and I've noticed that parents like to not be home. Like when they can not be home for a reason, bro. Then but you have no kids and shit, bro. You don't want to go at your house. It's comfy at home.
For sure.
It's quiet at home.
That's a fact.
You just kind of let it be.
That's a fact. I've always been somebody by nature that likes to be out. Not in the winter. I borderline stay home always in the wintertime unless I have to go out. But in the summertime, like, yeah, but I think a kid is extra. Yeah, I love to get out. I love to.
And I mean, no disrespect to parents or whatever. I get it. I've learned a lot about how many of my proclamations, people are like, you don't have kids. So I've started using that as an ad-lib in my tracks. I don't have kids, though. Because I just want to let y'all know I don't have kids.
Yeah.
And I know that if I complain about being tired, it's not the same as a parent complaining about being tired.
And it's deep, man, because for me, I always heard about what it is. Oh, you're going to be tired. And no matter what level that someone could verbally prepare you, it's nothing to what you think. Like right now, it's an ad-lib. Tomorrow it might be a little deeper. When you have that kid, it's like you're gonna be like, "What the fuck? No one told me it was like this," and people will be like, "Yeah, we kind of, but not like this."
No,
like,
they did tell me.
That is what
I have listened to parents telling me this is exactly what it is, and I'm wrong for like a long enough time that no, I will not be able to say that. I will have had hundreds of parents tell me you're wrong. It is that bad. That's how it became an ad-lib.
I'm not. Yeah, I love being a parent. My kid's the coolest, man. Brady, he's a dope kid, man. He's funny. He's a daredevil, and he's at that age now where he understands stuff. Like you tell him to do something, it's like he might not get it the first time, but he'll get it. If he's trying to communicate with you, it's like frustrating, but like he's trying to get it out. And then when you show that you understood it, he's like, "Yes, that's what I'm trying to say." Like it's really, really like the cool part, I think, of having a kid. For me, I wasn't much of a newborn guy. I adapted to it, but I wasn't like in me. I think most guys don't know how to hold a baby, don't know how to change a diaper, Yeah. Eventually you kind of get it. But now this 2-year-old phase, this is like, I've always been good at this phase. So now it's like, that's my homie. That's my sidekick. We just sit and
Bro, cool. That's all I'm looking forward to.
Guy.
That baby shit, I don't know. I guess that part, I mean, I'm certain I'll ogle it like a cat, but I feel like it's like having a cat until it's interactive, and then it becomes interactive.
I can have comparisons to having a dog because I had a dog, at the young age, newborn type of thing. So it's similar, but I mean, obviously, but like, yeah, like you become dependent. You have to, that kid is dependent on you to an extent, just like your dog or your cat. It's like you have to feed your cat. If you know you haven't fed your cat and you're going out, it's like, shit, I gotta make sure I'm home, or I got to do it before I leave. Like there's certain parameters that we place on our life that we put something else as being the responsibility. It's just a baby is like the highest form of that type of thing, but it is the same concept.
Yeah, and then the baby evolves into a thing that I can fuck with. Yo, I can't even wait. I want nothing more than to leverage my child's imagination for creativity purposes.
I sit on the chair. I say, Brady, strike a pose. Yo, same time, fold his arm. Like small things. It's like you're hilarious. You're me. You're me. We spoke about the musicals early in the interview. I knew that I wanted to have a son from the moment I saw The Lion King. The whole concept of the circle of life and Mufasa being the head, the lion, and then he had Simba that was, we knew that he was gonna be the next in line, but it was just a matter of when, and then Mufasa died, and then that's the circle of life. One day I'm not gonna be here. Hopefully I'm dead before Brady is, and then when I'm not, everything that people in this lifetime are appreciating about me will live on, and then he carries that legacy type of thing. I always wanted it to be a boy and not a girl for the first one. After the first one, I was like, okay, wherever they go, they go. But for me personally, I needed to have a son for that. And now I'm finally like, yeah, this is what I wanted. And Lion King came out. I was a teenager. So like I knew I wanted to have a child, and I knew I wanted to have a boy at relatively a young age, considering I'm a guy. Oftentimes guys don't even like want kids until they're like 18. I knew I wanted a kid way before that type of thing. And I knew I wanted it to be a boy, and it's like the exact same thing out of my imagination, but better.
That's dope. Your kid does look like he's gonna go ahead and melt some hearts.
Yeah, he's hilarious. He'd be your homie. I'm telling you, he'd be your homie.
Fucks with him already.
Just like vibe wise, like
why wouldn't I? Like,
I could
chill.
totally see it.
Nah, that's dope though, but still, and you're a parent through all this. That's another thing that actually like should be brought up as like points. So not only did you make a whole fucking documentary, make that happen, blah blah. Also released music in the middle of that shit. Also, just saying. You guys
Mom, it's hard to be a parent. It's hard to be in a relationship. It's hard to be in a relationship and have a kid with COVID. Like, there's no one that can give you a manual on how to maintain a happy home while having a child in COVID, and you're making music in this time, and you've been building a documentary since November. Like, you know, that's how diamonds are created.
And that's facts. And you a diamond. That's facts.
I appreciate
You're
that.
a dream team J-Star winning guy. Doesn't matter what anybody thinks. At the end of the day,
I said once, yeah.
You're still here doing it. But that's the thing, is you're still here to this day doing the things. Who can take that from you?
Nobody.
That's the most interesting part of a career.
And if anything, it'll be inherited.
That's amazing.
To my child.
I mean, that's a big one too.
Right.
The fact that you can instill that in the next generation. But yeah, to me, that's the whole point of the show, is to kind of highlight that. That's why we have to start young. Because it's impossible to like really bring it to that point where, yeah, you're doing this now. But the most important thing is you didn't just do this. You did all those things that led to this. And that if you look at, I started reading books, started studying success, how to win, blah, 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 blah. And it all came down to like people just did shit for a long enough time that the right series of circumstances worked out in their favor. And it always was long time, their whole life, you know, in some way or another. Like almost everybody I talked to, even if they weren't in music at like, don't worry, we speak English good. Your story is going to be wonderful. You can skip over whatever parts you want. Because he's on the show in like later this month, 24th or something. So he's like, oh shit, we gonna talk story, eh?
we opened up the storybook, man.
That's what we do here.
Shit.
And we're gonna talk about whatever just kind of flows, but at the end of the day, it just culminates into, but look where you're at now. That couldn't have happened.
Not the final destination, you know, but definitely pleased.
Yeah.
Definitely pleased.
I would argue that you can't go that long in the story. I mean, dude, we could have probably just gone on about Abbott for another 25, 30 minutes. I would have loved that, but it felt like maybe we should move on from Abbott.
If there's one thing that makes me happy is I kind of like, I'm cut from a cloth of like, I can't name them all, but like, let's say NBA, DPC, Black Mob, Magnum 357, Muggs, Millie Mills, Boy Blue, Northern Lights was earlier, but I'm naming a little bit later. But like coming from that in the hip hop community, it's just like the music thing didn't pop off how I wanted it to. So this documentary was like a creative way to just take a different street but still combining the fundamentals of the music. So I feel like, you know, I'm still here, still relevant, from Dream Team to Riverside Gang to Young Star Alliance to North Stars to NoRegard. There's been so many chapters, much documented, ready for the documentary, but it's not the final stop.
That's what's the most important, is that it keeps going, because why does it have to stop? Yeah. Joe, honestly, I appreciate everybody coming through. I appreciate you for everything that you do. I appreciate all of y'all watching. I know where the camera's at now. Over there. That's where I have to point. It's
the
like
light.
But Joe, it's amazing. And also all of you who are going to watch in the future, you're all wonderful fucking people too. But thanks for coming through again. It's always a pleasure. You're always a hoot, as they say. I hope that y'all enjoyed it. Make sure that you watch the documentary. How do people watch it after? Like, let's say the premiere comes. What happens next? That was another question. What do people do for those who can't be in Montreal?
That's coming soon, but there's definitely a plan in place.
Hey, this is some exclusive shit we're paying for. Oh, bro, the price just went up in my head. Woof. I see what you're saying.
There's some things going on. For now, we're going to cater to the people that are coming out to the premiere. July 15th. Doors open at 6:30 p.m. NoRegard, the greatest recreational sports story ever told. I always say every superhero has an origin story, and this is ours. It's homegrown. Montreal. I'm from LaSalle. My name is Lance. J.S. Daniel. NoRegard. And on that note, I am out like that.
Yeah, okay, but we're not fully out yet, so y'all appreciate y'all. Special thanks to the patrons: Ismail Gadam, Secrets, Proud, Jonathan Brown, CJ Black, Hurricane, Linda Williams, Scribble, Justin Pro.
You can't let me end it, eh?
No, I gotta do the proper endings. Appreciate y'all. Patreon.com/behind that suit. Appreciate everybody here. Honestly, it's been fun. I love that dramatic ending. But so, live long and fucking prosper, everybody.